What is up, everyone? It's the Fantasy Endgame here on a Wednesday night. Getting ready for another week of action. So, talk about what's going on in the NFL. Midweek is not usually a big news day. We have some actual good news today. We'll get to in a second. Of course, we're here to answer your start sit questions, your trade questions, your waiver wire questions, any questions you got, as long as they're related to football, of course. And so, I'm going to hold down the fort tonight. Chris is on a flight to London, so he can harass Arthur Smith from the sideline, throw things at him, and tell him to make sure Kyle Pitts does get the ball. Something like that. I'm not just assuming. No. But I'll be here to answer all your questions as long as it takes. We're going to go through as many as we can. And so, reminder for those who may be new or relatively new, use the super chat feature. Guarantee that your question will get answered. Answer some regular comments as well, of course. Don't worry. It's not just those who pay, but we do have a lot of questions every given night. Want to give everybody their due time, but also you got to make sure we prioritize here. So I already see some super chats lined up. Don't worry, guys. We'll get to you. Welcome back to a lot of our regular viewers. Let me first talk about the news I mentioned, which is Austin Ekeler actually practiced today. Hallelujah. So not all is lost in RB land. Now, it wasn't like a full practice as far as I saw. I think it was limited. And then I didn't get to see Brandon Staley was supposed to address the media afterwards. So, correct me if I'm wrong. He should be practicing again tomorrow if he practiced today. And even though it does, might not necessarily directly correlate to the run game itself, you got to think Mike Williams, one of their main weapons, being out for the season now, that's got to really prompt them, to want to do something to get this offense on track. Even though the offense really hasn't been an issue, but their defense is so bad, they need to score more points, apparently, just to try to pull out a win. And I mean, honestly, did they really win last week, or were they given the game? You know what I mean? When the other team's turning the ball over, there's a lot of issues with both those teams. But anyways, I don't think Staley's off the hot seat yet because this team is so much more talented than it's showing. But Ekeler, I mean, wasn't thought to be a long injury, and so now we know that he could be back. So that's good news. It's also just good to know that you, yes, can drop Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly right now averaging 3.6 yards per carry on the season, 3 games, of course. But that's misleading because he looked really good in week 1 when he was backing up and kind of just filling in for Ekeler against the Dolphins defense that, I don't know, just wasn't ready for the season to start, I guess. They looked much better the last 2 weeks, obviously. But in the 2 games where Kelly has actually had to be the guy and carry the load, he's averaging just barely over 2 yards per carry. And this was not by any means even close to a tough defense last week that he faced in Minnesota. It should have been a smash spot. And so, Kelly ain't it. There's not much they can do except hope Ekeler is ready to go. He might go. No promises here, no guarantees. There's always setbacks that could happen. But if you have Austin Ekeler, you may get him back this week. So that's good news too. All right. And the Packers and the Lions are going to play tomorrow. We'll go over that a little bit more tomorrow night and talk about that matchup, but could be good news for Green Bay. Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, of course, have been missing. Watson has yet to play. It sounds like Watson is leaning towards being active. So good chance you could actually get to put Christian Watson in your lineup. That would be a nice thing. Aaron Jones, even better because at running back, a lot of people just need him. David Montgomery also might be back. That's another good thing, but he's not an auto start. Jahmyr Gibbs did see an uptick in usage, but it wasn't a breakout game for him. It wasn't that he got a ton of carries necessarily, and he really didn't do as well as I had thought he might, especially this past weekend. So it's going to be what it is. I mean, it's Detroit. You know that coaches don't typically change the way they do things. I think it's going to be Monty 1A, Gibbs 1B. If Monty does come back this week, you think it's because he's good to go. It was, a thigh issue. Nothing as concerning like a knee or a hamstring. If he's good, then he'll probably get back to, 15, maybe more carries. He is definitely startable. Packers a good defense, but not something you should be worrying about shutting down a run game or anything like that. So could have 3 players back from injury, but of course, always check right before game time. Things happen, especially running back. It's a little tricky. But speaking of that, also, one thing that you should know before Thursday, and we've been talking about this all week, we talk about it all the time. Don't forget the Jared Goff special. This is for new customers on Underdog. So let's make sure that you know that if you haven't tried Underdog yet, this is what it is. New customer special here is Jared Goff, just a yard, right? Higher than 1/2 of a yard. So if you're new to Underdog, haven't tried it yet, just make sure, of course, you use promo code ENDGAME or use that link that's right there down below. And that will get you your deposit match 100% up to $100. Don't have to deposit $100, but every dollar you do put in up to 100 gets matched by them. And then you get that freebie. You can combine it with any other pick. So that's for tomorrow's night game. And then don't worry, because even if you don't get in on it before tomorrow night, they're always putting new specials out. It'll be somebody different next week. And I think what they're doing also, it seems like this week, because I noticed when I was making my picks for today, for existing customers, you don't get these new customer specials, but there's always a special. And it looks like they're going with somebody different every day. So you could continue to make, these picks and get a freebie, different one every single day. So I already did mine for today. I'll go back and get it tomorrow. I mean, why not? Why would you not take the freebie, right? But anyways, if you're new, you're looking at Underdog, you haven't tried it yet, Jared Goff, 1 yard tomorrow night. I believe in him. I think he can do it. All right, so check that out. Now let's get to the comments and the questions. I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. We have, just like before, our very first viewer. You were on 2 hours ago, Bus. The Bus is, I'll have to give it to you, loyal, very loyal, and a very legit question. A very tough question. So I'm going to just go with this right now. Kyren or Mostert rest of the season? All right. Let's just get this out of the way. I mean, if you've watched before, if you know me and what I believe in, and I try to be as objective and unbiased as possible. But I'm a Dolphins fan. I think that's pretty obvious. Okay, fine. But I also have an anti-Kyren Williams bias because I like makers. I don't know. Kyren Williams is nothing personal. It's never personal. It's just business. But that didn't impress me. He's not an overly fast, shifty running back. He can catch. Sure, there's a lot of running backs that can catch. And Chris pointed this out yesterday. He's not even very good at catching because he gets like a lower, somehow as a running back, lower than 50% catch rate. But look, he's getting used as if he's Todd Gurley, but he's not. He's going to break down at some point, isn't he? And even so, the efficiency is going to plummet. He's been making his, living so far for fantasy touchdowns and volume. Look, maybe the volume is still there, but if the efficiency isn't there and it doesn't match, when he doesn't score a touchdown, you're going to be like, what happened? Why isn't he doing better? Then you're going to look at basically like Dameon Pierce first half of last season. Yeah, he's the only guy getting touches, but he wasn't really carrying your fantasy team. So Mostert is clearly going to be in a timeshare. Like there's no doubt. What we saw, I think, is pretty much what we're going to see, because it's going to be a Shane and Mostert and then maybe a little Jeff Wilson here and there. Okay. So you want the bell cow back on the decent offense, who is okay, but not great. Or you want the really fast running back who is in a 50-50 timeshare pretty much on an elite offense. Most of the time, you want the volume, right? I always say, go for volume. But Mostert still has more upside, and I don't think I need to explain why. He's on the better team. He's the guy who can make those plays without depending on volume. And so in my very unbiased way, I'm going to say I think Mostert is the better asset rest of the season. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, because if Chris were here, he would agree with me. Again, we have this discussion all the time. Discussions like this. So I think it's Mostert. But what I'm doing right now I'm trying to trade both of these guys. Well, okay, let me back up a little. I'm trying to trade Kyren Williams for sure. I'm selling high on Kyren Williams. If you can sell high on Mostert, this is time to sell high on him. I'm not actively trying to get rid of Mostert. Like, I don't think he's going to tank or bust or whatever, but there's no way his value is higher than it is right now. There's no way. He's not going to be the number one running back in all fantasy that much longer. So I think I'm trying to trade Kyren if I have him, which I don't, but I would if I had him. And then Mostert, I'm selling high if at all possible. So my short answer is Mostert, but if you happen to have both, I think you could probably sell both, unless you're really desperate at running back. All right, first super chat goes to Michael Cazares. Welcome back, Michael. 10-man on PPR. Chase, Pittman, DJ, Brown, Myers, pick 2. I mean, I know it's non-PPR, but I don't think it matters. We've established that you can safely say I'm starting Chase no matter what at this point going forward. So Chase for sure. He'll score a touchdown at some point. Pittman does take a hit in non-PPR because, he's a guy who's getting a ton of catches. I think he's the only one who's been going over 8 each game so far this season. But DJ, obviously we can't start DJ Moore right now. Brown, not yet. The other choice I would say is Myers because he's reaching the end zone and he's getting yardage equivalent to Pittman. But Jimmy G is questionable right now. He's in the concussion protocol. Haven't seen an update on him. Of course, it's still just midweek. There's a better matchup there for sure going against the Chargers. Talked about Chargers at the beginning of the show. But the Jimmy G questionable tag has me worried. I think right now I would say I'll go with Pittman. Pittman doesn't have a scary matchup against the Rams. Anthony Richardson should be back. So going forward every week, Mike, just keep chasing there and don't even question it. You might be picking between Myers and Pittman this week because of the quarterback issue. I'm going to say Pittman. And I hope at some point DJ is startable. I hope. Alex, welcome back, Alex, again. Yeah, daily. That's right. Putting out every day. We got a new video for you guys. So don't miss. You got start sit still coming out. We got our booms. Should be coming out tomorrow. So let's see. Full PPR, 1 RB, 1 flex. Connor Stevenson, Gibbs, Dell Flowers. Okay, so at running back, I just talked about Monty might be back. And even if he isn't, I mean, I think Gibbs, he will have some games. I don't even think I can say he'll have like a Devon Shane type of game, but he will have some boom games at some point. Not yet, and I don't think against this Packers defense on the road, I don't think is it. And honestly, it's rare that I will say no to Stevenson, but not a great matchup. He hasn't really gotten it going yet this season. I think this week, based on how he's running, I know the matchup is definitely not as good either, but I think I'm just going Connor in full PPR. I think I'm going Connor. I think Zeke got involved last week. He's going to be involved against the Cowboys. So I think this week I go Connor at running back. And then at the flex, since it's full PPR, I'm not in love with multiple running backs on your team this week. I did really like Flowers last week. And I mean, he's still getting volume. His upside this week against the Browns, man, I hate that matchup. The Browns are actually the best defense in the league statistically right now. Yeah, 3 games, but still, that is a legit defense. I believe in that. I think I am going Tank this week. I'm not going to, say Tank's a must start every week going forward. But again, just based on what you see from these other guys, I think you can go Tank. So for me, Connor and Tank. Not choices I thought I would be making before the season, but here we are. All right. So Jason, also a member. What's up, Jason? Traded Mike Evans for Derrick Henry because I lost Chubb. Was that a good deal? Yes. Look, I know people are always scared of Derrick Henry every time he has a bad game. Newsflash, good players have bad games. Every good player has had a bad game. And even this year, just like people were panicking about Jamar Chase after 2 weeks, look, so he had a bad game. And so he got scripted out. The Titans, didn't need to run the ball. Tyjae Spears touched the ball. Oh no. Okay, I don't care. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be fine. You have a legit RB1. Okay, yes, RB1. There's not that many of them. You lost Chubb. You need an RB1. I think that's a very good deal. I'd much rather have Derrick Henry than Mike Evans. What did Mike Evans do last week? What I kind of thought he would do with Baker Mayfield going forward. Now we'll see. We'll see what happens this week. But look, they get the Saints. That's a really tough pass defense again. And you know his history with the Saints and Marshawn Lattimore. So it wouldn't be surprising to me, Mike Evans, another down game. His value starts to go down. So you sold on Evans at the right time. I'm not saying Evans is a bum and he's going to be terrible the rest of the season, but I'm saying you sold on him to get a legit RB1, and that's a good deal. So you sold at the right time. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with this move. And let's see, Titans, they get the Bengals. Derrick Henry can run against the Bengals. I think he'll be fine. Your roster, Kupp, Puka, Thomas, McLaurin. Yeah, I mean, you're fine at receiver. You start Puka until Kupp comes back, and then you're still okay. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Aaron Jones, Connor, Mike Andrews. Yeah. I mean, the way Jones, being hurt, you can't guarantee that he's going to be available to you. So yeah, I think that was a smart move. Now, as far as your team here, I mean, I'm not going to say I love your receiver depth because McLaurin is borderline, like wide receiver 3 type, Thomas, like kind of a flex, but not huge upside. You might want to make a decision on the Kupp Puka thing. And by that, I mean, trade Puka now so that you can just roll Kupp the rest of the season and get a different receiver for Puka. So, I mean, I know we say this a lot. We said it yesterday and the day before. We're going to keep saying it. This is the window to sell Puka. It's going to close. Like it's going to slam shut as soon as Kupp comes back. So, and Miguel Cordovez, Watson for Richardson. Again, a question I didn't think I would even have to think about before the season started, but I'm worried that Deshaun Watson that we have now is not Deshaun Watson that we saw before with Houston. And I think there's some reasoning behind that, not just it's a different team, it's a different city. His mindset is probably very different. There's a lot more pressure, a lot more scrutiny on him. I don't know what's going on there. He just doesn't look like the same player. That's all I'll say to that. He just doesn't look like the same guy. So I think the upside is a little more limited than we thought. I think Watson is okay. Like I don't mind rolling Watson out each and every week. I drafted Deshaun Watson in multiple leagues, and so I'm okay sticking with him. I don't feel like I have to deal him. But look, it seems as if Anthony Richardson does have more upside. And I was skeptical on Richardson because of his accuracy. Apparently, it doesn't matter because he's doing what Justin Fields should be doing. We'll see if Justin Fields does anything, but if Anthony Richardson's going to play the way he's been playing, then yes, that would be a miss for me because, he looks legit. So I would say you can do that. You can do Anthony Richardson, get the upside here. All right, Bilal, welcome back. Or should I say Commander Shepard? 3-0, very nice, but my running boo, yeah, okay, well, you're not alone there. The fact that you are 3-0 with a wiped out RB room is still, that's pretty good. Herbert, Amon-Ra, Debo, Puka, Najee, Rashad White. Yeah, okay. Laporta, Sutton, Quentin Johnson, Kareem Hunt, Jalen Warren. Wow. Okay. So we need some upgrades at running back. This is going to sound repetitive, but maybe trade Puka and try to get somebody at running back. Look, Quentin Johnston, I'm just going to say now, I've been talking up Josh Palmer. I'm going to mention, some other guys there. I don't think Quentin Johnson is going to be a guy you're going to want to be able to start in fantasy other than like a bye week fill-in. Like, oh, I hope he gets a touchdown. I think he has some more value in some leagues. Maybe some leagues, people are like, whatever, he hasn't done anything. But look, in some leagues, I saw him go for a lot of fab, and there's some, people who think, oh, first rounder, he's a stud. He's going to be a stud. He's going to, take off now with Mike Williams out. So maybe feel who might be interested in QJ. I'm going to try to package him with Puka. And maybe that can fetch you a pretty good kind of running back. You might want to have to do, well, you probably will have to try a buy low for a guy like Josh Jacobs, right? Who has struggled. Maybe a Ramondre who's been okay, and then people aren't thinking of him as an elite running back right now. I think you're going to have to do that. I don't think those guys will get you Saquon Barkley unless the Saquon Barkley owner is good at running back or they just think he's never coming back or whatever. It's hard to say because you don't know the guys in your league, don't know, what you can get realistically. So I'm going to try to trade guys like that or maybe a Sutton. If you have somebody in your league who is good at running back but not so good at receiver, that's your trade partner you want. Or just see if the Jacobs owner, or somebody, the Ramondre owner, somebody like that is willing to part with him. Look, we just saw somebody just trade Derrick Henry for what? Mike Evans is really a wide receiver 3 going, realistically. Not what he was after 2 weeks statistically, but what he actually is going forward. So you might be able to get Derrick Henry. Who knows? One bad game and people will just give up on him. So I would say, yeah, do that. And then you can just mix and match with White, maybe Najee at your RB2. Doubt you're going to be able to get 2 really good running backs, without trading away like the sun god. And you don't want to do that. So that's my suggestion. And then what's up, Rise? Just traded B-Rob and Warren for Jacobs. That's a good look. And I'm a Brian Robinson fan. He was one of my guys right before the season. Talked about my guys, my top 10 people I'm drafting everywhere. And I did it. And I probably did too much of it because I have 15 leagues and I try to differentiate. But then I look at all my leagues, I'm setting my lineups. And today I went through it. I actually checked my lineups before Thursday night. So on the back there. So I have Brian Robinson in like 7 leagues, maybe more. I don't remember. I drafted him everywhere. He's one of my guys. But like Jalen Warren is like a throw-in, really. So I would still take a chance on Josh Jacobs not being terrible this year. So I think that's a job very well done. And then we says, welcome back. Got offered a trade, Kyren for Amari. If you were offered to get Kyren and give up Amari, there's no way I'm doing this. I said this at the very top. I'm selling Kyren if I have him. If you're getting Amari, do it. But I'm not. No, I'm not doing this. If you're getting Kyren Williams, and then also another league, choose 2 running backs and 1 tight end. Bijan, yeah, I think I'll start Bijan. James Cook, I like Cook this week. I don't think the Boom video comes out till tomorrow. So here's a spoiler. James Cook is one of my picks. I think he's going to have a big game this week. Monty may play, but I think I'm okay with Cook over Monty. Ford. I like Ford. I'm going to like Ford every week. I think it's close between Ford and Cook, but I'll slightly lean Cook this week just because Ford doesn't have a great matchup. A run defense, great matchup is what I mean. Against the Ravens, which is decent. It's not bad, but. And then Laporta or Muth, I think you got to go Laporta. I mean, I know Steelers have a pretty good spot here with the Texans, but Laporta's getting the volume, and his quarterback looks significantly better. C.J. Stroud or Kenny Pickett, you got to go with the better offensive context. So, yeah, I'm going Laporta, I'm going Bijan, and Cook. That's what I'm doing. All right, Steven, in full PPR, need 2. Watson, Pickens, Atwell. Well, Watson is probably going to play. I don't know if that's officially confirmed. And again, there's always that risk. But in this case, if your other pick is Atwell, I'm definitely starting Pickens. I'll go Watson. Unless they say Watson is really going to be limited, like on a snap count or something, which I don't think so. So I'm going to go Watson and Pickens. Lamar or Richardson? Interesting. I mean, Richardson looks like the next Lamar, doesn't he? I mean, he should be good to go. Lamar, I just said it's not a good matchup. That Browns defense is legit. So I actually am worried enough about Lamar this week. I'll tell you what I did because I did set my lineups today. There's one super flex league I'm in where I happen to have, I think it's a dynasty league, but I happen to have Lamar Jackson, Tua, and Kirk Cousins. Not bad, right? So I got three good choices at quarterback. And so last week I started Lamar, was a good idea. And I think I started Cousins. So this week, I'm actually going to bench Lamar so I can go Cousins and Tua. I'm happy having Cousins and Tua as my quarterbacks, right? But I'm benching Lamar because of that matchup. As far as Richardson, yeah, I think you can do this. I think you can do this because there's enough concern that Lamar doesn't have a big game or even has a down game, based on this matchup. So I would go Richardson. Nako McCoy, Trevor Siemian. Does this move the needle? It does not. I mean, we know it's Trevor Siemian. We've seen Trevor Siemian, but also has Trevor Siemian been running with the ones, practicing with his team? And no. This is a desperation. Like, stop the bleeding. It doesn't even stop the bleeding. I mean, they're going to continue to lose and struggle. I mean, he might not be as bad as Zach Wilson, but I don't know that this really moves the needle for Garrett Wilson. I just don't see how it can. I mean, I think I'm still trading Garrett Wilson if I can. Not in Dynasty, of course, but yeah, I can't buy into this. Offer an Atwell-esque receiver for Garrett. Well, look, if you can give up like Atwell to get Garrett, sure, because you're not missing Tutu Atwell from your lineup. So yeah, for that, sure, I would do it. Would I trade George Pickens to get Garrett? Well, no, not at all. Nobody higher than that. So yeah, if it's a guy you picked off a waiver, sure, why not? Unless it's Tank Dell, I wouldn't do that. All right. What about this, Joe? Am I crazy for wanting to gamble with Moss and Shane? Not at all. Why would you even call that a gamble? Zach Moss is the guy there. A Shane, it's hard to even consider benching him unless you have stud running backs. Okay, so realistically, Moss and Stevenson, Gibbs, A Shane, and White. You don't have to start White out of this group for sure. Gibbs, I already said, I think he's just okay this week. I think you're okay with A Shane over Gibbs. Moss and Stevenson seems like the most logical, though. I think you start Moss for sure. I'm not scared of his matchup. So I like Moss. I think the last question I talked about with Stevenson and Gibbs are kind of like, okay, startable. Look, if you want the safe pick here, it's Stevenson. If you want to shoot for the upside and roll the dice with A Shane, go for A Shane. It's between those two guys. I'm going to leave that in your hands. All right, Keith Tapp. Bench Fields this week if Richardson plays. Do it. And look, I'm benching Fields also. I am. I benched him in one league, and I didn't even have such great quarterbacks like I mentioned before. I honestly think I'm benching Fields for Andy Dalton this week. I think I did that because Andy Dalton plays the Vikings, and Andy Dalton put up a lot of yards last week. Yeah, it was garbage time yards, but you don't think he can do that against the Vikings? You don't think that's a game where they're going to put up points and give up points, Minnesota? Yeah, bench Fields. Yeah, Richardson. You don't even need to worry about it. If not, no. Well, 10 man, I don't know who's out there to stream, but you're probably not going to find somebody with more upside than Richardson. So yeah, Richardson plays. You play him. Bilal, I am not even putting that comment up. I guess I don't know. Do I have to because you did the super chat? I'll give you your look. I'll give you look. You obviously you're expecting this, so all right. I'm not gonna lie. I lost just a little ounce of respect for you because you're a Patriots fan and you're taking shots, but that's okay. It's all love. Kyle needs one for the flex, 10 PPR, one flex. Rashad, A Shane, Flowers, or Tank Dell. I mean, are we gonna just say this every week? Basically, now with A Shane is if you want to go for the huge upside there. I think in this case, look, it's a PPR league. It's 10. It's Buffalo. We can't expect A Shane to go off every week. Maybe he does. If he breaks off an 80-yard touchdown run, I'm not going to say I told you not to start him, right? There's some leagues where I will start him. If it's between Rashad and A Shane, I'm starting A Shane. But I'm probably going to go Tank here. I mean, he's getting the volume. He's putting up huge numbers. Doesn't mean he'll do it every week, but nothing in this week's matchup makes me worry. He's getting not only increased targets, he's getting deeper targets, and that is important, right? It's not just quantity, it's also quality. We got to look at both. And I mean, it's pretty obvious he's Stroud's guy, right? He's Stroud's guy. He's been, they've been talking about it since before. I mean, he basically he was drafted by the Texans because Stroud said, I want that guy on our team. Now, they didn't go to college together either. This is not a teammates thing. It's not like we're going to pair him up like with Burrow and Chase and Tua and Waddle. No, they had a connection from, I think, one of those, it was a Senior Bowl or one of those bowl games, and one of those all-star type of things, and they connected. And look, there's a legit connection there. Buy into it. Roll with Tank. Josh Daniel. Oh, good afternoon. So traded Justin Herbert, Debo, and Waller. Okay, for Deshaun Watson, Ekeler, and Waddle. All right, let's see. So we got quarterback, receiver, tight end. You got quarterback, running back, and receiver. Interesting. Okay, so you traded away a tight end. You didn't get one back. I think that's fine because you could stream. I will say, like Waller this week, but I was not in on Waller at all this season, and I think that's fine to trade him. Surprised somebody actually did this to get for Waller. Herbert for Deshaun, yeah, you're getting a downgrade there, but with Mike Williams out, maybe it's not as big anymore. Maybe the light bulb clicked on for Deshaun Watson. He showed something last week, but I'm not buying into that because it was just Tennessee's awful pass defense. Debo for Waddle, give me Waddle, and then Ekeler instead of tight end Waller. I think this was a very good move for you. You just got one of the top running backs in the league. You got a legit stud receiver. Like, Debo is really good, but I'm preferring Waddle here. And even though, yeah, I'd rather have Herbert than Watson, it's not a big downgrade. You got a massive upgrade by going for Ekeler basically over Darren Waller. So I think this was a great move. What do you think? Is Quentin Johnson a safe start? No. And I will just say, I don't think Quentin Johnson's really, let's say ever, but this season for sure, I don't think he's ever going to be a safe start. I don't feel like the target volume is going to be there for him. And this is why some people might get a little frustrated or confused, thinking of, this is a guy who's a first round pick. This is a guy who's, seems just more athletic, just better than Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer will be getting 8 to 10 targets a game. Quentin Johnson will now go from like 2 a game to maybe 5 or 6. Once in a while, Quentin Johnson will make those big plays, right? Those splash plays. Josh Palmer will be putting up yards and probably getting more touchdowns. So, yeah, I'm definitely not starting a guy like Johnson this week, even though it's the Raiders. I feel really good about Josh Palmer. So, yeah, I can't call Johnson safe. He's like a streamable deep league receiver that you're going to roll out there during buys. If you have injuries, maybe he does get a huge uptick in targets, but even if he does, it's not going to be this week or next week. This is a very young guy. It's going to take him time. So yeah, it's going to be even more frustrating for those of you who either have QJ or just picked him up. You're going to see Gerald Everett get more targets now too. Gerald Everett will benefit, but also remember Austin Ekeler, if he is indeed back, they won't need to pass it as much. They'll actually have a running game. Ekeler will soak up some targets too. This just might not really be as pass heavy an offense going forward. Williams out, Ekeler in. It just logically makes sense. Tyler Sperry. Welcome back, Tyler. Goff or Burrow? Okay, well, Goff has been solid. Packers are good defense. Honestly, I have to check about Jair Alexander. He missed last game with a back issue. I mean, he's their top corner, and I don't know if he's on the injury report right now. Let me check. No, he's a limited participant, so yeah, he might play. Burrow did play, and he's going to play. He didn't look good, did he? He didn't put up numbers, but it's the Titans. I think with the matchup, I think I have to go Burrow. That the matchup isn't great for Goff. It's great for Burrow. So I'm going to go Burrow and just hope he's a little bit better. Tristan Leslie, thank you for the super chat. All right, traded Mostert, Tank, and Walker for Ekeler and Barkley. Ekeler and Barkley to yes, that is nice. This was a bargain. No, look, I love the way you even put it. Those two being injured. Ekeler might play this week. Barkley is even still in play for this week. I don't think he plays this week. It's probably more likely next week or the week after. So what? So you trade for a guy you might miss for a game or two. You don't think Mostert has a shot that he's going to miss a game or two at all this season? Raheem Mostert? Yeah. And then look, I'm never going to doubt Kenny Walker. I think he's a stud. I got no issues with Walker. But Charbonnet is getting more involved slowly but surely. I do not think Charbonnet will take over this backfield. Like it's going to be more of like a 1A, 1B thing. But just saying, Walker may not get quite as much volume down the stretch. Who would you rather have? Just ask yourself. Imagine week 14, 15, 16, 17. Who would you rather have? Austin Ekeler and Saquon Barkley of those three guys. Yeah, I think this was a bargain. This is why we call it the end game. This is exactly what you're looking for. So well done. Tristan Morgan, looking to buy low on Jacobs. Good idea. Have Hill, Lamb, Cooper, Kirk, Atwell, Ramondre, Moss, Connor, Akers, Gainwell, Shane. What is a reasonable offer? Okay, so we're just going to scratch those first three guys off the list because you're not going to move them to get Jacobs because that's not a buy low. You need a running back, or at least you want a running back. I don't even say need. I mean, you have guys who are a little bit more floor guys like Ramondre and Connor. I mean, they've been good. But I don't know what your Jacobs owner in your league is looking for or what he thinks. Obviously, if you can try to swing, Moss, and if he's somebody who's going to look and say, Moss is getting all the touches. Moss has been good. Moss has been better than Jacobs. I'd rather have Moss. Give him Moss plus another piece like a Gainwell. I don't think I want to trade Shane for Jacobs. So if you have to, you can package Moss with like a Gainwell, an Atwell, and see what happens. If he has no interest in Moss, okay. Well, then you move on. Then you might need to see if he wants a receiver. Then you can go for Kirk plus a lesser piece, right? And I don't think that's unfair. Christian Kirk has had 2 good games. Christian Kirk's a good player. So just see if he bites at any of that, something like that. But I'm not trading those top 3 receivers. And it would almost defeat the purpose to get Jacobs if you're trading away, Ramondre or Connor. Maybe Connor, maybe Connor for Jacobs. But then I feel like that's not really improving your team all that much. And I say that because I really don't expect last year's version of Josh Jacobs to come back. I just don't. Rough times. Indeed. Monty and Ekeler both practiced. Yep, you need one for this week to go with Kamara. If Monty's a go, do I start him or roll the dice hoping Ekeler goes? You know what? Yeah, I think I would rather wait on Ekeler. I'll wait on Ekeler because he did practice, and there's obviously some good hope here. Some optimism. And if you're desperate and you have to put in Breida, it's okay. Breida could always score a touchdown. Seahawks have given up 5 touchdowns just to running backs. They've given up a lot of points overall. So it's okay. You just get a few points from Breida because I don't expect Monty to have a big game anyways. So I would hold out for Ekeler and then just stash Breida just in case. Big Luscious is in the house again. If you don't have a tight end, is it worth trading away Rashad White for Laporta and Charbonnet? Yeah. I was going to say White for Laporta. Yeah, I don't want to go after a tight end for a running back. But if you're getting Charbonnet, a guy who you could stash and has upside, yeah, I think this is okay. That swings it for me. Because Charbonnet does have a lot of upside, potentially. All right, Carl Williams. Welcome back, Carl. Half PPR. Let's go 2 receiver, 2 running back, 2 flex. London, Judy, DJ, Jaden Reed, James Conner, Swift, Kyron, Shane, Rashawn. The Broncos and Bears to actually get points because they're playing each other. Maybe. I think the Broncos definitely could score points because they've actually been scoring points even against some good teams. So these are all your choices. I mean, I don't mean that, to be condescending or anything. Just was hoping there was more. Just making sure. Two receivers, two running back, two flex. Okay, so let me start with running back. I'm gonna go Swift. I mean, for sure, Swift. I want to say Connor, and his Connor's the better back. I know he gets San Francisco. Kyron gets the Colts. I feel like it should be Connor. I guess you can go Kyron. I would rather go Connor. And then a two receiver. Let's see. I don't think this is a week for Jaden Reed, not just because Watson's coming back, but it's a good decent defense in Detroit. Judy's risky, but every one of your receivers is risky, honestly. And you need two receivers and two flex here. Okay, let's do this. It's half PPR. Don't love your receivers. So in this case, I'm going to say start Swift, start Connor, flex A Shane, and shoot for that upside. Flex Kyron because he could score, obviously, and he's getting volume. So just pick out two receivers here. I don't think you can start DJ because I'm not believing in the Bears until I see a huge change, but also he's going to get some Pat Surtain in his grill. That's not a good thing. So I would go Judy in London. Judy and London at receiver, and then those first four running backs, I'm going to start. So there you have a Bronco, if that makes you feel better. Ben, Waller, Laporta, Addison, and Tank, one tight end and a flex. At tight end, I'm still going Waller this week, which is unlike me to say, but this week, I think it could happen. I'm sticking with Waller this week. At flex, I think I'm going to go Tank this week. Addison didn't smash when he coulda, shoulda last week. He was close. He's getting those nice downfield targets. It's not quite as great a matchup for Addison. I think he's fine, but I'm going with Tank, just getting more volume. Pedro, welcome back, Pedro. 10 team PPR, RB2, and a flex. All right, so we got Cook, B-Rob, A-Shane. I know everybody has A-Shane. You want to know if you should play him, right? Connor, Garrett Wilson, Breida, Watson. RB2 and a flex. I like James Cook this week. I'm going to go with James Cook. I think Robinson is fine. Connor would be the choice if it wasn't for his matchup. I'm going to go Cook. And then at flex, you know what? I said this before. I think I'm going to stick with what I said about Watson is that I kind of want to see him on the field before I throw him in a lineup. I mean, he does have obviously that big play upside. And maybe, maybe they do just try to go after him, get him involved early. Robinson is the guy I'm not sure about. He's always solid, but it's the Eagles. I mean, we saw the defense actually come back to being the Eagles defense. So I'm not going to start Robinson. If you're going to take a shot, I think you just might as well go with either Shane or Watson. Go for that huge upside. So this week, I'll say a Shane. But if you go with Watson, I think that's okay too. All right, and Tyler with another one. Kyron Williams, Mixon, Monty. If he plays pick 2, I think you're solid with Mixon. No worries there. And I'll go Kyron. Not feeling a big Monty game, and that's even if he plays. Sounds like he's trending towards playing. Go with the guy is getting a ton of volume. Just go Kyron and don't worry about it. Kyron and Mixon it is. All right, then Dez Ev. 10-man. Chase, Amon-Ra, Devontae, Moore, Pickens, Sutton, Watson, and you got Stevenson. Probably Javonte Williams, Rashad White. Need to stud. Oh, okay. Trade talk here. I'm not trading Chase or Amon-Ra. I don't want to trade Devontae Smith. It's not worth it to get a running back. You lose your advantage. Pickens has some value. Christian Watson, now he's back. You got 3, legit stud receivers. You really don't need Watson. I don't know. I mean, I would try to trade off Javante if I could. I don't know if he has much value, but maybe somebody will say, oh, okay, well, at least I can play him. Okay, so sure, try Watson and Javante and see what that gets you. If they're like, no, I want Rashad White, okay, fine, get Rashad White instead. So I would say one of those two running backs and Watson. If it has to be Pickens instead of Watson, I'm fine doing that because then, oh, well, I still have Watson. Moore just doesn't have trade value right now. Look, if the guy wants Sutton, I'm fine giving up Sutton. I just think you get back more for Watson. So I would say either Watson, first choice, or Pickens, second choice, plus Javante, first choice, or Rashad. Try one of those, a 2-for-1, and see what you can get. And you can apparently buy low on Derrick Henry right now. You can definitely buy low on Josh Jacobs. And you could maybe even get Barkley because some people just don't want to wait, right? Or they're worried about him or whatever. Greetings, Senor Royland. All right, so I got Ford, Kyron Algier, Akers, Sharp, Spears. Any other handcuffs? You want more? You want more running back handcuffs? Eli Mitchell's probably already taken, I'm going to guess. On the radar, well, on the radar, I'll just say, the obvious ones are already either taken or people just already know. I talk about some potential handcuffs in the Beat the Breakout video, which is going to come out in like 2 days. So I don't think there's anybody else obvious that you should be. I would say, you didn't mention, yeah. Now that Kamara's back, people are going to forget about Kendra Miller. Don't forget about Kendra Miller. Jamal Williams is still hurt on IR, and Kamara, I just don't think we're going to see vintage Kamara ever again. So I would just say don't forget about Kendra. Because he debuted and he didn't do much, and everyone's like, okay, that's old news now, right? You had one game to prove you're good, and now we don't care about you. Don't forget about Kendrick Miller. That was his first game back. Brian, new member. What took so long? I'm just kidding, Brian. All right. Appreciate you, of course. Alex Crouch, should I trade AR-15, Devon, Train, and Drake London for Fields and Olave? Trading for Fields. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Olave, I like. I don't know. I mean, look, do we want Fields over AR? I don't think so. I mean, you're getting Olave obviously over London, and you're packaging a Shane to get him. I think that's smart. I think that's smart. You're trying to sell how you're getting a stud receiver. I guess my question here is he can't be your starter, right? Obviously, you had to start a different quarterback last week. So what are we doing with Fields? Were you streaming quarterback for 1 week? Were you depending on Richardson as your starter, and then you just had to replace him for last week? Or was he your backup quarterback? If you already are good at quarterback and you're just swapping a backup for another backup and you're taking a shot on Fields, that's fine. Do this. Yeah, I would just be leery of pinning my hopes on Justin Fields at this point, because the wheel could come off. He could get benched, something, and then you're looking for a quarterback. So I'd say as long as you're not assuming and relying on Justin Fields at quarterback to start the rest of the year, and he gets benched or something happens, you're like, well, great. Now I have to start Jimmy Garoppolo the rest of the year because he's the only guy on waivers. Then I don't do this. But overall, I think you can do this if that's the situation. He's your backup. DB12, should I trade Pacheco and Flowers for JT and Cup? Yes. So you're getting, just want to make sure, you would be getting Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp, which were last year's consensus number 1 and 2 picks. For Pacheco, like basically kind of a committee running back in Kansas City who doesn't run the ball much, and then Zay Flowers, who I like Zay Flowers, but he's no Cooper Kupp. If you're getting JT and Cup, then you have permission to log off and go do this trade right now, and then come back and post it, and then we'll do like a confetti thing or something. So yes, I think you should do this. I think everybody agree with me. Okay, let's give a thumbs up to DB12. We should do this. Vince Fanatic, what is up? All right, 12 team PPR, the Superflex, Allen and Tua. Nice. Swift, White, Warren, Rashawn, Sharp, Hall, Akers, Diggs, St. Brown, Dell, Jason, Sky, Watson. Drop 3. Drop 3? You have to drop 3? Because Watson was on IR. Now he's off. And then you want to get Johnston. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you dropped him for Dell. Dell is definitely more valuable. Like, I really don't feel like you have to drop any of these guys to get Johnson. I kind of already talked about that earlier. If you heard that. Warren, Rashawn, like you don't have to hold Rashawn, but I would rather have a running back with upside than potential wide receiver 3 type. So I guess my answer is no. I wouldn't worry about picking up Johnston. If you have to drop somebody to like activate these guys on IR, I mean, you can drop Akers, of course, and probably Sky. Yeah, probably Sky because look, you have Diggs, St. Brown, Dell, and then Watson. Just long-term upside, JSN over Sky. I think you could drop Sky, or you can probably drop Rashawn still. All right, Michael O. Madison in London or Dotson for Zach Moss and Flowers. Can you trade Madison? Yes, you definitely should be trading Madison. London or Dotson, doesn't matter. Same guy. Very super talented receiver, stuck with not so great passing offense and questionable quarterback play so far. You know what? That is a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't really talk about that, the whole thing with JT today. I mean, we could go on forever about JT. That was also a story in the news today. Doesn't really affect this week, but JT's adamant, like he's digging in his heels. I'm not playing for the Colts, which makes sense after he was basically like Jim Irsay, like spat in his face. Not literally, but metaphorically. And then the Colts saying the same thing, like, yeah, we're not just going to trade him for whatever. Now, they're not saying they need a first-round pick back, and they're not, like, give us your best receiver, but they're also not going to trade him just to make him happy. That's pretty obvious. So Zach Moss is now becoming a lot more interesting, isn't he? Because it doesn't look like if JT does play that it will be for the Colts. So you know what? I don't really care. Even if I get like one more good week out of Zach Moss, I think I'm still fine taking him over Madison. And then I would prefer Flowers over either of those receivers. So yes, get Moss and Flowers. Smart move, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Ross Wong traded Eli Sky Moore and James Cook. Okay. For Kamara, Pickens, and Gabe Davis. I mean, I like Cook better than Kamara. I don't think it'll be like this huge difference. I'm not saying James Cook is going to be, necessarily like a fantasy league winner, but I'd rather have James Cook. I feel like you can start him every week, and Kamara is going to be, I think, kind of disappointing. But I would rather have Pickens and Gabe over those receivers. So even though I don't like the downgrade at running back, I do prefer those 2 receivers to your 2 receivers you gave up. So I think it's still a win. You got Herbert, Love, Bijan, Pollard, and Kamara. Okay, so if you have Bijan and Pollard, you're not starting Kamara anyways. So D-Hop, Judy Davis. Yeah. You needed help. Yeah, you needed help at receiver more than running back. So this was definitely a smart move for your team. Pickens and Gabe. And, I'm not going to say Gabe is a guy you want to roll out every single week. We know what Gabe does, but he seems better so far this year than he was last year. I would rather start him definitely than the Moores. So, and then Pickens, I still believe in Pickens. So I think this is a good move for you. So well played. Bobby Brook, PPR 14 team, drop Sharps for London. You got Bijan, Jones, Dylan. You know what? You probably could just drop Dylan at this point because Dylan has looked terrible. Don't know why. Pickens, Elijah Moore, and Wandale. No, don't drop Charbonnet. You can drop Wandale. Don't. Wandale, look, talented guy. He is just barely working his way back from ACL. He's one of 6 receivers on a team that is not a good passing offense. And I don't mean, they haven't been good the first 3 weeks. No, this is not a good passing offense. They weren't a good passing offense last year. Dayball kind of worked miracles with Daniel Jones, getting him to stop turning the ball over and looking halfway decent. No, I don't want any Giants receiver. Wandale, drop Wandale. I mean, unless this is Dynasty, which you didn't say it is. But even so, well, no, it wouldn't be Dynasty because London wouldn't be out there. So, yeah, drop Wandale is what I'm saying. All right, Brian. A fake 3-0 makes him wait. Yeah, so just say a fortunate 3-0. Would I send Waddle for Mostert and Jacoby Myers? No, you could get more than that. Mostert. I like Mostert, but I'm not buying him as an RB1 rest of the season. If you're trading Waddle, Brian, you need to get more than this. You need to get a better running back. And Jacoby's fine, but again, do you really want to give up a legit number 1 receiver for like a number 3 receiver, and probably realistically kind of like a RB2 type? No, if I'm going to trade Waddle, I need I need to get like Saquon Barkley or take a chance on Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, you need a legit running back. Mixon is at least startable every week. He's fine. He has been better than last year, I will say. Maybe he's not complete dust. Maybe. Monty or Kamara. This is rough times. Monty or Kamara. I would probably lean Monty just because I'm obviously not believing in Kamara. It's not a great matchup for Kamara. I will go Monty if he's a go and he's not limited. Yeah, so that's the same one. Yeah. All right, there you go. Sir Boomer, the original. 12-team PPR got Tua. See, this is why I knew I liked you. Tua, Bijan, Connor, Devontae, other Devontae, Henry, Puka, bench, Sanders, Pierce, thoughts, changes. Okay, let's see. Changes. Henry or Freiermuth. Probably doesn't matter. I stick with Henry. I'm looking at Kendre. Can't start Kendre this week. London. I'm not putting him over those guys. Judy. I know it's the Bears. Maybe Judy, but who are you going to bench Puka for him? No, I don't think so. Sutton. And then I don't think I'm going to go Sanders. You know what? Actually, you know what? Let me pull that back a little bit. I might go Sanders over Connor because Sanders gets the Vikings. So just for some more upside, I might go Sanders. He's due. He's getting red zone work. He's getting goal line touches. He just hasn't scored, and at least I don't think he has, right? Miles Sanders, I don't think he's even scored yet. The Panthers don't score too many touchdowns these days. But he's getting the volume. He's getting receptions. Oh, he has scored. Okay, he's got 1 touchdown. That's why I was like, let me check. Yeah, I'm going to go with Sanders. He should have more than 1 touchdown. Connor has looked good, and Connor is fine. But I might lean Sanders just for a little bit more upside this week. All right. And then let's see. Yeah, exactly. Yab Sira. In a full PPR league, should I trade Mixon for GT? Yes. Get JT. Mixon is fine. Looks solid, but come on. If JT gets traded to, I don't care who, whatever team, even if it's the Bears, I'll go with JT over Mixon. Okay, maybe not the Bears. I'm going too far. I apologize. But any other team, probably, then yeah, I would take a shot on this. I don't think you're going to be sad, if you're missing Mixon. All right, Carl. Kyron for Tank Dell. You know what? I like Tank, and I know I said some things about Kyron Williams earlier. The running back is just so more valuable. I think, again, I would just say this. If you're going to trade away Kyron, you could probably get more than Tank Dell. In fact, I know you can get more for Tank Dell. I saw one league, somebody was able to get Jalen Waddle for Kyron Williams straight up, and that made me angry. But I'm going to say, no, don't do this just for Tank. Trade away Kyron, you can get more. You should get more. Let's see. Mary Jo, would you bench Ridley and play Tank? I can't bench Ridley. I mean, I know playing Tank is very – I've already told 3 people play Tank, but not over Ridley. Ridley has been down, but he gets Atlanta this week, which besides being his former team, You know what? And now I think about it, that whole thing is kind of stupid revenge game. Shouldn't they be the ones that are pissed that they had to suspend him for a whole year because of gambling? They should be a revenge game for the Falcons, not for Ridley. But anyways, I'm gonna say Ridley. You want to keep him in your lineup because he plays the Falcons, and he could go off. Tank did go off last week, but again, I these things have a way of evening out. You know what I mean? You go for the guy who has just coming off of big games, but the guy who maybe is due for a big game. I can't bench Ridley. That's all I'm saying. I can't bench Ridley. Yes. All right, Emilio, come back. Are you sure Dalton is playing? Well, I thought that they were concerned about Bryce Young missing at least 2 weeks. Now, I will be honest, I didn't get to check all the injury reports this morning just because it was a busy kind of day. So you're right. It could be true. He could be back. All right. So in that case, maybe don't start Andy Dalton, but let's see how this goes throughout the week of practice. But yeah, if Dalton is for sure the starter, I'm putting him for Justin Fields. So you have AR Fields, Jimmy G. Oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, you might not have a choice because Jimmy G might not play. He's in the protocol, but yeah, whoever the Raiders have backup, Brian Hoyer. No, I wouldn't go there. All right, AB. 12 team PPR got Lamar, got James Cook, Madison, Mark Andrews, Stephon Diggs, Hollywood, A. Shane, Flex, Bench, Garrett Wilson, Watson Jones, Herbert, Spears, Shaheed, Jeff Wilson. Well, I don't like having Madison as your RB2. What you could do is put A. Shane as your RB2, and then you could throw Christian Watson in the flex, which you probably should do because you want Christian Watson in your lineup if he's playing and he's a full go. There's really nobody else on your bench that I would consider starting, except for maybe Shaheed. If I did that, then Watson would be my starting receiver next to Diggs, and then I would have to consider, do I play Shaheed over Hollywood because of matchup, because Hollywood is going against the 49ers. Shaheed did nothing last week except score a real long punt return touchdown, but offensively he wasn't targeted. It's very risky there, so I wouldn't go Shaheed this week. So I would say you can start Watson at the flex and put a Shane instead of Madison, and that's what I would do. I mean, I'm not saying that Cam Akers is going to get all of a sudden half the carries, but he'll get some run. And just Madison is just not doing it. I mean, the only time he put up numbers that were even decent was last week because he went against really bad defense. All right, let's get to Quinner. All right. Should I trade away Puka for B-Rob? I feel like very light. Have CMC, next best RB is Rashawn Spears, have Cup on IR. What is up with always getting off to these slow starts, Quinn? Last year we turned it around. I know we did. And you look, it's still early. But anyways, I would say for Puka, I think you could get more at this point. Maybe you could do a 2-for-1. I know you want a running back. You need a running back. Okay. You need a running back. But maybe you could at least get B-Rob and another kind of low-end running back with upside. Maybe a handcuff who could help you out later in the year, like a Charbonnet, or maybe a startable receiver. So I feel like I get trading Puka now, yes, and getting Robinson. That makes sense. But I feel like try to get a little bit more out of it. I guess that's all I would say. Trade Walker for Jacobs. You already have Etienne and Barkley, so you're good at running back. I mean, I like Walker. Honestly, this is one where I feel like Chris would disagree with me. I think he's a little more optimistic on Jacobs than I am, and I like Walker better than he does. So I wouldn't do this. I would hold on to Walker. He would probably say go get Jacobs, I think. Don't want to speak for him. But Yeah, if you're going to trade Walker, I mean, I get the logic behind this. I wouldn't do it. I would rather keep Walker. Only trade Walker in this case if you want to buy low on like Cooper Cup or something. Somebody would do that. I bet you somebody might do that. Walker's looked good. He's put up fantasy points. So I think that would make more sense. But look, you have Barkley. Yeah, you're going to be good, but don't you still need Walker this week, maybe next week? So I don't think you really need to make a trade. A Zerby, welcome back. JJ Keenan Ridley, that's pretty good. Johnson, Dell, Bijan, Jacobs, Madison. Should I trade Allen and Laporta for Kelsey and Jones? Okay, clarify for me. Laporta and Kelsey, you're talking tight ends. Are you talking Josh Allen and Daniel Jones? If that's the Jones you're talking about, I need to know because Jones is a little vague here for me. I want to make sure. I want to make absolutely sure before I even say anything about this trade. You're talking about Allen. It could be Keenan Allen. It could be Josh Allen. I'm assuming it's not Keenan because you already listed receivers here. And I think you're talking about quarterbacks. So go ahead and put a comment there just so I'm like crystal clear on who you're trading. If this is Josh Allen and Laporta for Kelsey and Jones, I am not doing that. I'm not starting Daniel Jones. And I'm fine with Josh Allen and Laporta. Like, there's no reason I would worry about those guys. But clarify for me just to make sure. All right. And then David Aguilar. Thank you. We appreciate that. So we got RB Connor, Ford, Shane, Breida, Rashad White. Good work on the waiver wire. I'm just going to say that. Good job. You maybe needed to because injuries have hurt us all. Nico, Olave, Kirk, Tank, Palmer, and Wilson. Pick 2 RBs and 3 receivers. Okay. So for this week, between your running backs, I'm starting Ford. You don't have any flex here? Okay, so just 2 running backs and 3 receivers. Not Breida or White. There's no reason you need to start Breida or White. So I'm going to go Ford and then Connor-ish. I probably will stick with Connor. Again, if you want to gamble on a Shane, I'll say he's on. No, he's not a must start, but I get it. How do you sit him? So I'm starting Ford, and then I'm going to say if you want to play it safer, go Connor. If you want to shoot for the moon, go for a Shane. And then a receiver, you have to start Olave. You should start Kirk, and I would go Tank. I really do like Josh Palmer this week, but I'm not going to put him over Tank. Not right now. I'm not starting Garrett Wilson. I like Nico, but you can't roll him over Tank at this point, can you? Would you trade any running backs for St. Brown? Yes, any of them. You're going to trade James Conner to get St. Brown? Do it right now. Do it now. Do it fast. And then that way you go forward, you can start a Shane, and that's fine. And then you go Olave, Kirk, and St. Brown, and you just made your team better. This is a PPR league, and the guy's going to give you the sun god for James Conner. Do it now. Right now. Right now. Juice 420, what's up? 14 team PPR needs a quarterback, T-Law or Stafford. Stafford coming down to earth just a little bit. I know. How do you start Lawrence? He's been bad. It's Atlanta. The Jags are comfortable playing in London. They've done it before. They do it like every year for some reason. I don't really know why. Stafford, like, it's okay. It's an okay matchup. But you know what? I'll just go with T-Law and hope he has a bounce back week. I think he will. I mean, who knew that he is owned by the Texans? I guess that was a thing. Now it's a thing. Need one tight end, Musgrave or Ferguson? I'm definitely going Musgrave. I like Musgrave a lot this week. One of my favorite streamers. Ferguson's okay. He's fine. He's getting targets, but I go Musgrave. I guess I am. No, I don't. I'm not going to say I believe in Michael Thomas. I'm just going to say I believe in what I see in front of me. I see that he's still healthy. He's got all his toes. He's catching some passes. But what I did like, and this is what I mentioned when I talk about it, and actually I don't even know, because I guess I mentioned this on the live show last night, I guess. But when you see tomorrow's video, you'll see what I mean about Michael Thomas. You talk about, then I guess you will call me a believer. Um, Jameis Winston is going to be the quarterback. Jameis Winston only threw to 3 guys when he came in the game, and Michael Thomas was one of them. And the only, of course, Chris Olave was one. Now, it doesn't mean that that's going to carry on for the whole game. Of course not. But he knows Michael Thomas. They have some sort of rapport. I think that Michael Thomas could have a nice game. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to even go any deeper there. Tone Dog 290. Start Evans with a hard matchup or Palmer. I'm going Palmer. It's a really hard matchup for Evans, but also I think I saw what I was kind of waiting for and expecting with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, it was the Eagles defense. This is a tough matchup. This is another tough matchup. Actually, even tougher technically. Saints defense has been better this year. So I'm going to go Palmer. He's going to get targeted as much, if not more, than Evans. He's clearly not anywhere close to the talent level of Evans. There's no way he's better, but it doesn't matter. He's going to get as many targets. He's going against a much lesser defense. So, and he's got Justin Herbert throwing to him, not Baker Mayfield. South Sea, all right. In the house, thank you, South Sea. And then another member, Vinny. Needs flex advice, tough matchups. Yes, just talked about that. And Ramondre, would you start Watson or Thielen to flex? I can't go there with Thielen. Look, Watson is interesting. I think I might go Watson unless we hear, well, he'll be on a snap count or, he's not 100% or something. But if Watson is a full go with Watson. It's PPR. Don't expect a big game from either of those running backs. So I like the way you're thinking here. I'm going to go Watson. All right, South Sea with a question. Would you start Fields this week over Love? Can we keep doing this with Fields? I mean, Jordan Love, not great, defensive match, but it's not bad. It's the Lions. It's fine. I think I would just stick with Love, to be honest. Now he gets Watson back. Aaron Jones maybe back. I'm going to just stick with Love. There's nothing that worries me from starting him. And there's nothing that's shown me that I should continue going with Justin Fields. Like, I guess the Broncos I think the Broncos have been a lot worse than they actually are defensively. They're not a terrible defense. Really, they shouldn't be. So I'm going Love. Ryan Torres. Should I trade Ayuk for Ridley, Nico, or should I trade Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk for Waddle and Ridley, Nico? Ridley and Nico, I'm guessing. Is that what you mean? I would trade Ayuk just for Ridley to get Ridley straight up. If you're getting Ridley and Nico just for Ayuk, I'm doing that. Should I trade Olave to Ayuk for Waddley and Olave QB situation worries? Nah, I don't think that's too worrisome. Look, Olave put up good numbers last year. We remember who the quarterbacks were last year for New Orleans. It was Andy Dalton. It was a little Taysom Hill. I mean, he didn't have Derek Carr last year. He's just a good receiver. Waddle can go crazy. Waddle can definitely go crazy. Yeah, I would want to get Waddle and Ridley. I think you can do either of these, but I wouldn't want to trade Olave. So if you can do the first one, I mean, I would definitely rather have Olave than Ayuk, is what I'm saying. So Ayuk for Ridley and Nico, I would do that. Xavier has Gibbs and Monty. Who should I trade? Now, that's an interesting question. Right now, I would just say this. There's some backfields where, the rookie is getting eased into it and eventually will take over. So, okay, Atlanta, it took, 1 week, 2 weeks before it was like, all right, thank you, Algier, for your service. You're going to be the backup now. Bijan's the guy. He's going to be the guy. In Seattle, it's going to be a slower progression, and I don't think that Charbonnet is going to take over. I think it's going to be more like a 60-40 thing, because right now it hasn't been. Like week 1 and 2, it was like 90% Walker, and now it's getting closer. With Gibbs and Monty, I think it is what it is. It's going to be basically what we saw with, maybe not exactly with Williams and Swift, because Swift never got the ball. But I think it's going to be basically more of a strict timeshare here. So it's hard to say, in other words, that one guy is clearly going to have the advantage over the other. I feel like Gibbs has more perceived value in fantasy. I think you could get more for him, especially now with Monty hurt. So if you're going to trade one, it should be Gibbs because that'll get you something better in return. I don't know what you can really get from Monty right now. Not much. So if you're going to trade one, I would keep Monty now, trade Gibbs. That's my answer. Adante Bourne, thank you for the super chat. All right, let's see what we can do here. Have Jalen Hurts, James Cook, Kyron Williams, Chase, Amon-Ra, Andrews, Debo. That's a pretty good squad. You don't really have a true RB1 though, but things happen. On the bench, let's see, Caleb Porta, Waddle, Higgins. You have Waddle and Higgins on the bench. Okay. I get it. Obviously you couldn't play Waddle last week. Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford. Okay, you have a pretty good bench. Should I trade Hertz AK for CMC? Yes. You can definitely do that because, I know trading Jalen Hurts, you're getting the number one running back in fantasy and you have Cousins. You're fine starting Cousins. So firm yes to the first one. If you can do that, get CMC. Okay. And then Tua, Lamar, maybe trade Cousins, Debo for Mahomes. I wonder, should you do both of those? Hurts and AK, you're saying you can get CMC and Lamar or Tua? I mean, if someone's going to do that, I don't know why somebody would do that. I don't think someone's going to do that, but who knows? Let's see. I think you can do the first one, Hurts and that's Kamara for CMC. Do that. And then you could also trade Cousins, Debo from Holmes. I don't love that because you don't really need to go there. I mean, of course, I'd rather have Mahomes and Cousins, but I think you're fine. Just roll Cousins out and have that a huge advantage at receiver. But if you can get CMC, do it. Do that first one. Yeah. If somehow you can get a quarterback also, well then go. If somehow you can trade Hurts and Kamara to get CMC and Tua or Lamar, then go ahead and trade Cousins and Debo for whatever. I mean, that's crazy. Sorry. All right, let's go to Ahmad. Ahmad's a member. Full PPR 1 and 2. Got Devontae, St. Brown, Etienne Walker, Laporta, Waddle. Got Moss, Henry, Mostert, Godwin. Garrett Wilson need to win this week. Look, you got good players. Devontae and St. Brown, rock solid. Etienne Walker, Mostert. I mean, you're not starting Mostert. I hope maybe you didn't start Mostert last week. Maybe that's the issue. Of course, I don't blame you. Look, nobody thought that was going to happen. It's okay that you didn't start Mostert if you didn't. I think you want to start Mostert this week. I like Etienne, but I think you have to start Mostert as long as this keeps going. So I would start Mostert and Walker. Yes, start Laporta. You're fine there. Do you not have a flex? You only start 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and you don't flex? Oh, wait, flex is Waddle. My bad. I'm sorry. I missed that. Okay, so you have Waddle at the flex. You're good. Keep that lineup the way it is, except I think you need to start Mostert. And then for this team, see if you can trade away Godwin or Garrett Wilson. I know their value is not high, but try anyways. You don't know. People still think of Godwin as, this outstanding receiver, which he is. He's just not an outstanding fantasy receiver this year. Same thing with Garrett Wilson. I'd trade those guys while you can get some more young, high upside receivers, which sounds weird that I'm saying that Garrett Wilson isn't, but, reasons. What about the Joker? Full PPR, Hunter Henry or Musgrave this week? I'm going Musgrave. I like him. He's getting targets. He's getting deep targets. One thing I mentioned in, I think, a couple of videos, maybe the Musgrave waiver wire bit I did, but also the one that's coming out Friday. So Jordan Love right now is one of the leaders in deep throws, but also he has, among all starting quarterbacks, the highest average depth of target. He's airing it out. And that's not just to the receivers. So think about that. He has had the highest average depth of target. Christian Watson hasn't even played yet this year. Luke Musgrave is getting air yards massively. Remember that one, that deep one that should have been a touchdown, but he didn't throw it right, and then Musgrave had to fall down and didn't score. And then that one where Musgrave was wide open last week down the middle of the field, and it should have been an easy, like 60, 70-yard touchdown, whatever it was, but Love overthrew him. This is a couple of times it has happened. Musgrave is getting open. With Watson there, with Aaron Jones back, it's just going to help. So he might not get as many targets, but he's getting those good quality targets. So now I will have to say this. Now that I mentioned this, the only quarterback that has more deep throws than Jordan Love and Justin Herbert, and there's one other guy who has 16, is Mac Jones. Okay, but tell me you've seen the replays of Mac Jones' deep throws. How many of those deep throws have actually connected for a completion? I think like 2 or 3. So, take that with a grain of salt. But Hunter Henry is not the guy who's getting those deep throws. It's like always Kendrick Bourne. So I like Musgrave this week. Rest of season, I think it's close because I think Musgrave will have more yards. I think Henry has better chance at touchdowns. So in PPR, I might give the slight edge to Henry just because he has less target competition, right? Musgrave has 4 good receivers now that good young receivers in the Packers. Hunter Henry is none that he's competing with, really. Sir Boomer, I offered a crazy trade. It's Connor Puka Jr. That's not crazy. I think it is fair. Look, somebody will go for this. We just saw somebody saying that they could get, for Connor, a stud receiver. Puka, maybe last week was the week to trade him, but I bet you somebody, maybe not the guy I don't know about whoever the CMC owners in your league. I bet you somebody would take this trade. I think that it was worth a shot. And then Carl also have Hurts, Kelsey, yeah. Trying to get hard another after losing. It's hard, right? Now it's easier to get a good receiver than a running back these days, but just keep fishing. Just keep fishing. All right. Let's go to Tyler Havens. At the flex, you need to pick one. Got Cook, Moss, Bijan. Bijan, as in Bijan Robinson. I don't know. Is there another Bijan in the NFL? So I have questions now. How is Bijan a flex and not every week I'm starting him at running back? Actually, that's my only question. Okay, so if Bijan Robinson is your choice here, you're starting Bijan Robinson. My other question was, how is T. Higgins just like on the flex? But I'm going to start Bijan. I think I'll start Bijan. That's it. I have no more questions. Okay, but we're going to answer some more questions. And then let's see, Juice 420, send JT to the Raiders. You know what? Would that make Josh Jacobs happy? Would they take Josh Jacobs and put him in Indy? I don't know all the financials and the details and how that works. I'm not gonna. I hate those hypothetical. If they do this, and then it's like, look, just tell me when it happens, and I'll tell you what I think of it. But JT to the Raiders, I guess it's. I don't know. Maybe better than the Bears. Old Chud Muffin. Flex full point PPR got Dobbs, Mims, Thielen, Chark, Godwin, Madison, or Zach Moss. You need just one flex out of these guys? Okay. I'll pass on Madison. Not interested in Godwin. I think Dobbs not this week. He's always got some upside, but yeah, I'm between Chark. I am starting Chark. I mentioned him, of course, in the waiver wire video. I'm starting Chark in 2 leagues because he's playing Minnesota. Now, I did assume Andy Dalton was going to start again. Now it looks like Bryce Young might be playing. I don't know. I might just go with Moss and just be happy that I'm getting a guy who's getting the volume and doesn't have a terrible matchup. I might have gone Chark. Look, Mims is definitely interesting because he plays the Bears and he's been getting those deep targets. So here's what I'm going to say. You want the solid set and forget getting you points and probably a solid game, it's Zach Moss. If for some reason you feel like you want to, roll the dice and go for the guy who could have a bigger game, then it would be Mims. But I think you're fine at Zach Moss. Julio, what's up? Hello, Fiends. No, I think that was probably a typo. Or was it? 10-team PPR flex, A-Shane, Tank, Addison, or Kirk. Look, this seems tough because you want to start Tank, you want to start A-Shane. I think I can say no to Addison with these options. Kirk, it's hard to bench Kirk, isn't it? And then he's playing Atlanta. That doesn't worry me. So, Texans, are the Texans really going to keep feeding Tank the way that they have been? It's the Steelers. It's not bad for a receiver. It is PPR. In this case, I'm going Tank or Kirk. Oh, man, this one's tough. This really is tough because I feel like it should be Kirk. You know what Kirk can do, right? But if it's a Ridley week, maybe it's not a Kirk week. I don't want to just say, oh, start Tank, start Tank, start Tank. So I do think Tank is probably the pick, though. I think it's probably Tank. Now, this would be interesting if JT went to the Steelers. I mean, the offensive line is not looking good. The offensive coordinator isn't good. And what would happen then to Najee? Like, do the Colts want Najee? I don't know. I hate getting all this speculation stuff. Anyways, all right, Tyler Havens. Full PPR. All right, so here it is, clarifying how he has Bijan as a flex. Got Bijan, Jacobs, Pollard, Cookman. Would you trade one of these studs? Okay. So Tyler, to make it clear, Pollard is, I guess, your RB1. Let's just make it simple that way. Pollard is your RB1. Don't trade him. Bijan is your RB2. Don't trade him. Just don't. Hold those two guys and be happy. Jacobs should be your every week starting running back, but he's underachieving. Don't sell low on him. Just hold him, and you have a huge upside backup running back / flex. You can trade Zach Moss because even though we're not maybe as worried about JT coming back to the Colts, what if one of these things happens and they get traded and then now we have Najee Harris. Now we have, okay, but whatever. The point is Zach Moss not guaranteed to be a bell cow all year, or he could also turn back into the previous version of Zach Moss. Just saying. If you can trade Moss and something like another receiver, somebody you have to get Cup, I would try to do that. Would I trade Bijan or Pollard? No. Now, if you can trade Jacobs to get Cup straight up, yes, I would do that. I don't know if the Cup owner's doing that, but if you can do that, then yes. All right. Let's get to the next one, and that's Sean. Need advice. Wide receiver 2 in a flex. I'm not starting Atwell over these guys. I'm going Lockett, and I'm going, well, I think you still need to start Lockett. We know his weekly upside. We know what he can do. And there's nothing scaring me about the Giants. You have to start Lockett. I was just going to knee-jerk say Palmer in a good matchup. Sutton gets the Bears. So maybe it should be Sutton. In this case, I will go Sutton. Lockett and Sutton. I think you can go Palmer, but I would say Sutton this week. And then Tristan with another one got offered Puka and JT for Lamb. No, I'm not doing that. I'm holding Lamb, not just because of the concerns with JT and whatever, but we know this is not the time to be buying Puka. This is the time to be selling Puka. I don't think you're going to get what you're looking for with Puka. So no, I'm keeping Lamb if this is what's happening here. Humberto, welcome back, Humberto. All right, down bad. Justin Fields looks like he's to blame. Saquon Barkley being hurt, that also might have something to do with it. You've got good players. You drafted a good team. It's not your fault. Adams and St. Brown have been great. Andrews, no problems there. Let's see. Had Mike Williams, but now he's out. This is a bad luck team, right? Your stud running back is hurt. One of your good receivers is out now, and your quarterback is just busted. It's a 14-team league in this format. I don't know what your options are at quarterback if you can stream somebody this week, but you might just have to keep Fields. In this case, I would just say definitely keep Fields. You can drop Khalil Herbert. I mean, I know you don't have much beside him, but you can't start him. Like, there's got to be somebody on waivers that has more upside than him. So, start Stevenson. Hope Barkley comes back soon. This week, you can't start Dylan if Aaron Jones is coming back, and we can't start Dylan anyways. I guess Rashawn Johnson, but there's got to be somebody you can pick up off waivers at running back. Like, even if it's like Latavius Murray, that's better than nothing. Better than Herbert, I think. So, yeah, scour the waiver wire, for a running back. Palmer, Dobbs, Atwell. You have decent for a 14-team league, decent receivers there. So I think you're okay. Palmer, he's not Mike Williams, right? I'm not gonna say he makes up for it, but at least you got him. And then Dobbs is solid. Atwell is bye week fill in at this point. So you're not gonna be able to really trade Fields and get anything back. Don't trade Barkley. He's like your only hope here. I'm just gonna say try to wait it out until you get Barkley back on the field. Hope Justin Fields does something. Don't want to give up Adams or St. Brown here. If someone's willing to give you a really solid like wide receiver 2 or running back 2 type for Mark Andrews or Andrews and something else, I'm okay if you just stream tight end to do that to upgrade your running back room. But it's going to be hard to do, but just saying that might be your only option. And then talking about Rashawn, scared that Rashawn will run all over the Broncos. There's a big difference between Rashawn Johnson and Devon Achane. Well, first of all, it's not just Achane and Mostert. Those guys are literally two of the fastest men in the NFL. Even at age 31, Raheem Mostert is as fast as like Tyreek Hill. And this is not an exaggeration. Look it up. These are the fastest guys in the NFL. That's why the Dolphins got them all on the same team. Rashawn Johnson's not that guy. I'm pretty sure he will not rip off an 80-yard touchdown run. So, no, I don't think you'll kick yourself. Don't worry about that. And also the Bears offense and offensive line, not nearly as good as the Dolphins. And are the Broncos or anybody really worried about the Bears passing game at this point where they can't just stack the box? So Oscar, 10-man, half PPR, Herbert, Etienne, Rashawn, Hill, Higgins, Pittman, Watson, Kittle. And then there's the bench, Tua, Watson. Okay, you got a 10-man league. You have, I'm pretty sure, one quarterback slot where you start one quarterback. It's not super flex. It's not 2 QB. You don't need 3 starting quarterbacks. Trade Tua while right now he's playing at MVP level. Not that he won't all season, because he clearly will. He might have higher value than Herbert. It looks like you're starting Herbert. If you can trade Herbert and just start Tua, trade Herbert. In fact, that might be the better move because obviously Mike Williams. Now, people might pick up on that. Like, hey, he doesn't have his really good receiver anymore. But still, people love Justin Herbert. Trade Justin Herbert. Try to trade Garrett Wilson, package them, and get yourself hopefully a running back, a good running back. You don't need 3 quarterbacks. You really don't. But trade Herbert. If nobody, for some reason, not somebody will want Herbert. But if somebody doesn't, then you could trade Tua too, and that's fine. You don't want to roll with Rashawn as your starting RB2. And then your receivers are good. Your receivers, you're totally fine. You got Kittle at tight end, so you're good. Pick up Palmer. That's nice. Trade a quarterback, trade Garrett Wilson, get yourself a running back. Couple new members, George, thank you. And then Joel. And then here's a question. Full PPR, DJ Moore or Watson rest of season? Well, I am not completely giving up on DJ Moore rest of season, but I'm taking Christian Watson over him at this point. These two guys were really close for me draft season. I think toward the very end, I was pushing DJ Moore up over Watson, especially the week before once we knew Watson was hurt. But yeah, I think you got to go Watson at this point because Jordan Love is looking legit. Justin Fields is not. I think it matters, right? The whole team, the context, it matters. Packers are still a very solid offense, so I think it has to be Watson. I'm not dropping DJ Moore. I don't want to sell low on DJ Moore, but I'm gonna say Watson over him. Blake Huntoon, hey, 14 man. There's Love, Mondre, Algier, Jamar. DJ Moore, another guy we just talked about. Waller, Puka. On the bench is Ayuk. Well, I mean, you should have Ayuk in this week for sure, not DJ Moore, but I'm pretty sure you know that. You got Stroud. Okay, look. It's a single quarterback league. You don't need three quarterbacks, but you definitely don't need Daniel Jones. Like, you don't. Just drop Daniel Jones, please. Just for my sake, for my mental sanity. All right, so drop Daniel Jones. You gotta. That's it for your bench. Your bench is Ayuk, Stroud, Jones, and Moore. So you don't have a single running back on the bench. I just want to make sure that that's what I'm looking at. And you have Algier as your RB2. You need some running backs. Unless you're missing somebody, unless I'm missing somebody. Ayuk, Stroud. Okay, you need running backs, and you know what? Definitely drop Daniel Jones. You don't really need to hold on to Sky Moore. There's other receivers out there. I know it's 14-team league, but still, at least pick up one running back. Please, at least one running back. I don't know who's out there. You can, maybe drop a comment. Yeah, you need running backs. Well, you know what? Let me go back real quick. As far as moves to make, you don't want Algier as your starting running back too. You can't do that the rest of the season. This is a team, Blake. I think you try to trade Puka. I'm even okay if you can get a legit running back, if you need to trade Ayuk to get it. So I'm going to try to trade to get myself a real every week starting running back. Start with the big fish and, work your way down. See if somebody's willing to sell low on Josh Jacobs, maybe Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley if they're really worried. And then if not, just kind of keep working your way down from there. But you need to improve that running back room. You don't need Daniel Jones. Okay. Ahmad. Got Lamar, CMC, James Cook, St. Brown, Waddle, Ingram. Waller's benched. This week I would start Waller. At the flex, Jacoby Myers. And the bench, T. Higgins and Tua. Pittman, Kyron Moss, Addison. Any changes? All right. So this week, and not just because I'm a stan, but I'm going to put Tua over Lamar Jackson because of that Cleveland defense. I am legit worried at Lamar Jackson. So I might start Tua over Lamar this week. Running backs, fine. Receivers, fine. Tight end, this week I'm starting Waller over Ingram. And at the flex, I think you have to put T. Higgins in there. I mean, even if you say, well, look what he did last week. He gets Tennessee. You have to start T. Higgins against Tennessee and see what happens. So I like Myers, but also Jimmy G, the protocol. So flex Higgins, start Waller, and I'm personally going Tua. You got a pretty good team there, though. Yeah, sorry, Sir Boomer. Not going to spend too much time on Trevor Siemian. So still kind of up on super chats. This is a good a moment to give me a little pause here, by the way. About halfway through, a little more than halfway through. Thank you for everyone joining. Appreciate it. So, just a quick mention for those who weren't here at the top of the show. If you already were, then if you watch us every night, you already know exactly what's going to happen. But some people don't. We got always new viewers, which is awesome to see. Appreciate everybody who's watching. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows about the special for Underdog. Look, new customer special. If you haven't tried Underdog yet, I mean, pretty much everybody at this point who plays fantasy knows Underdog. If you haven't already tried it, it's the fastest growing fantasy site out there. I don't have any statistics whatsoever to back that up. I feel that that's true. So I'm just going to go with it. But it's huge. They're everywhere now. All right. You know Underdog. If you haven't tried Underdog, not sure why, there's a new customer special there. Again, 1 yard for Jared Goff. He can do it. I have faith in him. So if you're a new customer, then make sure you sign up and use, of course, our promo code, which is endgame, or even easier, just use that link right there. Click the link. It's usually in the description. Sign up, use promo code endgame. That gets you your deposit match 100% up to $100. And then you get that new customer special where you get the freebie basically. And it's Jared Goff just needing a yard. I think he can do it. Take that, combine it with any other pick, and then you can instantly triple your money. All right, guys. Thank you very much for bearing with me. So let's go back now to who is next. Mary Jo. Dropping Njoku from Musgrave? Yes. I'm not like done with Njoku, like never looking at him again, but for the time being, even against Tennessee, even with Deshaun Watson having a good game, the way he's being used in this offense is just not encouraging. Musgrave, I like. Do it. Then, would you trade Derrick Henry and Rashad White for Ekeler? Now, this is interesting. I've been talking about, well, low on Derrick Henry, still believe in Derrick Henry, but you're getting Ekeler. I gotta think, especially if Eckler's just coming back this week. Yeah, I prefer Eckler. Rashad White, is that going to be, a huge difference? No, he's startable, but he's not an every week must start. We know this. He's going to have some ups and he's going to have some downs. So if it takes Rashad White to combine with Henry for Eckler, I'm doing it. Yeah, if you can get Eckler, get Eckler. And I don't think that's too much. And I think it's fair for the other side too. They get Henry, legit RB1, plus Rashad White can be an RB2. So I think that's good. Joel Rodriguez picked the lineup. All right, QB Allen picked Tyreek and Addison and Dell, Watson, London, D-Hop, Moore. Okay. I don't know how many you need, but let's just say this. Bijan is your RB1. Mostert is your RB2. Tyreek is your wide receiver 1. I don't think we can start DJ Moore this week, especially with this group. D-Hop is like a maybe, but I would start Watson over him. I would say Tyreek, Dell, and Watson this week. Those are your 3 receivers, Bijan and Mostert. If you happen to need another flex besides those 3 receivers, I might actually take London. In London. London's calling. All right. Juice 420. Oh, awesome. 3-0. So the lineup will be T-Law, CMC, Kyron Diggs, Sungod, Musgrave, Waddle, Flex. Yep. That looks good to me. I think you're set. Oh, you know what? Didn't look. He said 2 receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. Only 2 receivers and 1 flex. So go Tyreek, Dell, and Watson. That's what I'm doing. If Watson is going to be limited or something, makes you nervous before the game starts tomorrow, you can swap him out probably for London. Abhimanyu Singh, welcome back. Trade Jacobs and Hollywood for Rashad and Swift. This is another interesting one. Okay, so Jacobs could be a buy low, but you're trading away Jacobs to get Swift. I don't mind doing that. Honestly, I don't. And we had, I think yesterday, we had one just like this. And we really had to sit and think about this. And even Chris, I know he's higher on Jacobs than I am rest of the season. And I'm higher on Swift, which is weird because last year was the opposite. But anyways, and he really, really thought about this. I don't I don't mind trading with Hollywood Brown, get Rashad White. That's like whatever. It's like, who do you believe in rest of the season? This is what matters. Is it, do you prefer Jacobs or Swift? I'm fine doing this. I think get the running back depth. And then also I like Swift. I think Swift is just shown he has potential league winning upside this year. He's showing that. So I think I do this. I think I take White and Swift. Yeah, I think I would do that. RJ, thank you, RJ. Have Allen, Bijan, Gibbs, Lamb, Ridley, Laporta, Waddle. On the bench is Ashane Cooper on the bench. All right, and then yeah, you got some really good receivers. Got Flowers on the bench. Got Waller, Watson, Bigsby, Sharps. Who should I be starting? Okay, well, Watson. Normally, I would say, well, you can start Watson this week. No, not with your receivers. There's no way. You don't need to, and you shouldn't. You have to start Lamb. Yeah, I'm starting Ridley this week. Of course, if Waddle plays, you play him. Cooper, I mean, hard not to start Cooper. I mean, I don't even know if you can bench Cooper this week. I might have to start Cooper, but who would I sit for him? The only person I might sit for Cooper is Ridley, but I actually think I'm going to start Ridley. So really the only consideration I have on this team this week is, do I go Waller over Laporta? I would do that this week. And I know Laporta's been good and getting better. Waller has disappointed. I think this could be a Waller week. I might be wrong on that. I probably won't even recommend Waller the rest of the year anyways, because I wasn't even on Waller this year. I think this is a Waller week, but I don't mind if you stick with Laporta. You'll be fine. So you've got a good lineup here. Jerome, Pickens or Tank for the flex? Sorry, I have to go Pickens still. I like Tank, think's legit, but I can't sit Pickens. I cannot sit Pickens. Let's see what else I'm on. Might be able to trade Cook and Ridley for Barkley. I mean, it's risky. It's risky because Cook is looking like a pretty solid RB2, and Ridley, I mean, at the very least, we have to say he's a volatile but high upside wide receiver too. It still has potential to be a wide receiver one. Let's not pretend like he doesn't anymore. So I don't know. That's a huge risk for me. I think that's a little too much to go all in on Barkley. I think for me, it's a little too much. Emilio, start Kittle or Musgrave this week. Yeah, I can't say Kittle. And what, they play the Cardinals? I mean, I know I like Musgrave, but again, to clarify, I say Musgrave is my favorite streamer or pickup this week at tight end. If you have Kittle, don't worry about it. Set and forget. Musgrave could outscore him, but I'm going Kittle. Don't worry about it. Rahul Ramesh, let's see, PPR, Hurts, Ford, Henry, Keenan, Addison, Hawkinson, Mostert. On the bench, you got Del Ayuk. Okay, so would you trade Mostert and Connor for Jacobs and T? You really wanted to get rid of Ford. No, I don't want to get rid of Ford. Because it looks like you have Derrick Henry and Jerome Ford, and you got Mostert there and Connor. So you're trading away two good, solid running backs, but you're getting Jacobs, who could be Keenan, Addison. Who else you got? You have Ayuk. I mean, I would just say, well, I'm going to say it's hard to believe that this is even a question. Jacobs, who was one of the top running backs drafted, and T. Higgins, a second-round pick, for a guy who was really, probably not drafted very many places, Mostert and Connor. I'm going to take Jacobs and T. Yeah, I'm going to take Jacobs and T because you get that upgrade at receiver. And then look, even if Jacobs somehow winds up being this huge bust all season, I think you're fine with Ford as your RB2. I think you are. So yeah, I would do that. And then South Sea, PPR 10-man, Love, Amon, Ridley, Madison, Pierce, Kincaid. I don't think you can start Kincaid at tight end. Flex Puka, Pacheco, White, Rashawn Flowers, Addison Fields. I have to make a trade or drop for, well, not yet, but you got Cup, trade Puka, gonna keep saying it. Addison and Pierce. Wow, you need running back help. Yeah, you definitely need running back help. It's a 10-man league. Trade Puka and one of those running backs who still somebody thinks has value, like a Madison or Pierce, or if you have to, Pacheco, and try to get a legit running back. You're going to have to do that. And then just pick up a different tight ends. Yeah, Kincaid, not it. Not yet. Abimani, you trade Hurts for Olave Jacobs. So you can trade Hurts for Olave. I'm doing it. Take Olave. I think you can do that. Rene Ricardo, do I offer Walker Myers more for Cup and Cook? I'm going to hope and assume it's James Cook. So Walker Myers more for Cup and Cook? Yes. Don't love giving up Walker, but Cook is going to be pretty close. It's solid. I like Myers, but Myers and Moore, who, yeah, if you're getting Cup and Cook, I'm going to do this for sure. You're getting a lot more upside here. It's worth the gamble. Because again, Myers and Moore aren't guys you need really should be every week must starts anyways. Solid, but not nearly Cup level when Cup is healthy and playing. I'm doing this. Bryce Roblowski, JT and Etienne for CMC and Jordan Love. Okay. I'm gonna have to take the CMC side here. Because best case scenario, JT, Colts, Raiders, Steelers, whoever, I'm not putting him at the CMC level. It's CMC. And then Jordan Love. I mean, I don't know if you're needing a quarterback. Jordan Love is really not a starting quarterback in most 12-team single QB leagues. I'm kind of just ignoring him. Like, I would rather have CMC than JT and Etienne still. Having that number one guy, that just clear stud standout at running back, is just so important. So I would take CMC over JT and Etienne. I'm not sure which side you're getting, but I want the CMC side. All right, JR Fuentes traded Myers and Evans for Henry and Waddle. So you got a legit RB1 Derrick Henry and a legit number one receiver and Waddle. You traded away Myers and Evans. Okay, so tell me how well you know this person and what you had to do for them that you made this trade go through. That's I need a drink. All right, JR, if you pulled this off and you got Henry Waddle, then well done, sir. We're gonna have to knight you. Sir Boomer, can we knight him for pulling this off? Thank you. Dante Bourne, Hurts, and AK for CMC. And so I feel like you asked something like this earlier. Again, I don't know who's doing these trades? Who is doing this? Why are people trading away CMC for anything? Please, somebody make it make sense. Why are you trading the number one running back in fantasy right now and one of the best quarterbacks because you're a huge Eagles fan and you want Jalen Hurts? Okay, do this in a heartbeat. Tua and Lamar, it doesn't even matter. I like them both, obviously. Go Lamar. Look, I'm not biased. Lamar, because I had him ranked higher preseason. Juice 421, someone to ask if they should start Zach Wilson. Oh, that's funny. That is actually funny. That was good. Allen's in Brazil. Give him a shout out here. Ford, Ramondre, or Nico? Yeah, I still like Nico. We got to back off a little bit on him. I'm going Ford. I like Ford. I like Ford in general. I like Ford this week. Go Ford. I'm not out on Ramondre, okay? But this week, I'm going Ford. Demetrios. 10-team, non-PPR, start one of each. Love or Goff? I mean, they're playing each other. I think I'm going to go Love. Or am I? Yeah, I'm going to go Love. And then Mixon or Hall. And that's because it's in Green Bay. Road Goff isn't the same as home Goff. So I'm going to go Love. Mixon or Hall, definitely Mixon. Flowers and Tutu, definitely Flowers. So Love, Mixon, Flowers. Ferguson or Goddard? Goddard. Yeah, Goddard, look, he hasn't been great this year. He'll be fine. I still like him better than Ferguson. I mean, clearly, so go Goddard. Vlad Sanchez, Amon Ra, and Jameson Williams, I think. For Hawk and Ayuk. Ooh, you're trading away the Sun God. You're trading away two Detroit receivers. You're going to get the former Detroit tight end in Ayuk. I mean, obviously, if you're going to trade away Amon Ra, you should get studs back. Ayuk is not on the Amon Ra level, but he's a solid every week starter. I mean, look, I'm not hot crazy like some other people are. You're getting a stud tight end. You're getting a still really good receiver. I think this is fair. And mainly I say that because with JMO, I'm like, whatever. I'm not counting on him for anything. So I think if this is fine. I don't love giving up a number one receiver just to upgrade at tight end, but you're getting Ayuk, so I think it's doable. I guess put it that way. Let's see. Next to Mason. Ford and Chase for Lamb and Kyron. Man, all right. We're gonna have to put on the thinking hat here. Ford and Chase. Don't want to trade away Chase. You're getting Lamb, so that's so close. Ford and Chase. I would rather have the Ford and Chase side. And that's mainly because, I mean, yeah, Chase over Lamb a little bit, but I like Ford over Kyron. I do. So if you're getting Lamb and Kyron, no, I don't do this. I think you're fine with Chase and Ford. You're fine with Jamar Chase. Like, don't trade Jamar Chase right now. There's no need to trade Jamar Chase. But also, I'm not worried about Ford. I think he's going to be solid. I think people are going to be very happy that they picked up Jerome Ford. War of Empires. Start sit 12 team. You need 2 running back, 2 receiver, and a flex. You got T-Law, Etienne, Madison, Devontae Adams, Higgins, Higbee, Swift, Elijah Morgan, Wilson. All right, so I guess you're starting T-Law, and I'm okay with that one more week. Etienne is your number 1. Swift is your number 2. Get Madison out of there. Start Swift. So Etienne and Swift are your running backs. Adams and Higgins for sure are your 2 receivers. At flex, I don't think I can go Elijah Moore this week. I don't want to start Garrett Wilson, obviously. Jalen Warren, whatever. Woods was looking good, but he's starting to fade more than Nico, really, because of the Tank Dell thing. And it's not like it's a smash spot for him. Do I really want to go Rashee Rice? I think if this is my team, this is, I don't know why, the toughest one. You know what? I think I would just go Rashee Rice, I guess, if I have to flex one of these guys. So Law, Etienne, and Swift, and then Adams and Higgins. And then I'm going to flex Rice, I guess, out of those options. Sorry, I can't start Garrett Wilson right now. Python, would you trade a Shane for Miles Sanders and Elijah Moore? No. Sanders will be fine. Elijah Moore, not doing it for me. He's not moving the needle. So, nah. I'm just going to keep a Shane in this point. You know, if you're trading a Shane right now, You should be taking advantage of overreactions and selling high. Miles Sanders is not, a guy who should be fetching a ton back right now. He hasn't really done a whole lot. So I know I'm fine on Sanders the rest of the season, but no. Try to keep fielding offers, I guess. Mr. and Hannah send Mostert and D Hop and get Josh Jacobs. Uh, I mean, Hopkins doesn't have a huge, huge level of interest right now. It's basically you're gonna assume Jacobs outscores most of the rest of the season. I think this is doable. I do. I think this is fair. People might look and say, "What are you crazy? You're trading away the number one running back to get a guy who's a bum this year." I mean, technically true. Do we think Mostert's going to outscore Josh Jacobs the rest of the season? I don't. Even if Jacobs isn't last year's version, I still think he'll be solid and fine, and Mostert will be up and down. I would like if you could get something like at least a minor piece back along with Jacobs, maybe like a bench receiver, a stash running back, just something more. So I don't mind that deal. I think it's worth it. Yeah. But again, if you're selling high on Mostert, see if you can get a little bit more. Squeeze as much out of him as you can. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So Ryan is he's getting Waddle and Nico or Ridley in this package. That's right. You asked about this earlier. Man. Okay. If you can get Waddle and Ridley, yeah, you do that. That's Cook or Stevenson or Ayuk or Addison in London. QT just add, yeah. Look, you can throw in QT. That's like whatever. London, fine. If London gets that deal done, do it. Ayuk is not a throw-in. I don't know about Ayuk. I don't want to just add Ayuk, but try with QT or London and see if that works. I would hold on to Ayuk. Yeah. No, I hope that made sense. Dodge Ram 0909. I'm guessing you meant super flex, not a superfluous PPR, because PPR matters, right? Okay, so super flex, you have Tua and Lawrence. Love on the bench. Start Love over Lawrence. You know what? This is actually really, really tough this week. Obviously, you're starting Tua. Like, what version of Lawrence are we getting? It's London. It's Atlanta. The matchup shouldn't scare you. It should be a big game for Lawrence, just like it should have been last week. Look, the Chiefs have been really good on defense, so I can actually just kind of, I can kind of give them a pass for that game. The Chiefs have had a pass rush. Their corners are much better this year. They're starting DBs. Love has been good. Love gets Watson back. Detroit better, but not great pass defense. I mean, are we worried that Lawrence is going to go off for 300 plus yards, have a big game? I think you go Love. I think you go Love. I mean, Lawrence is startable still for sure. And maybe he has a big game, but I don't feel it this week. I'm going to just go Love and be happy with my points. So I think Love for the floor. Colton Spencer, wide receiver to trade Puka for because you have Cup and you lost Williams. This is exactly the type of team that should be trading Puka. So very good idea here. Okay, so who could you get for Puka now that he had a decent but not great week 3? Probably could get Christian Watson. You maybe, you know what? People questioning Calvin Ridley after 2 down games. Maybe we could get Calvin Ridley. I would definitely take Ridley over Puka. So maybe try for Ridley. You maybe could get Watson. Again, thinking of these fantasy owners with short attention spans and recency bias on their mind. Ridley's had 2 bad games or down games. Watson hasn't played, hasn't done anything this year because he's been hurt, but this is how people think. If they want Puka, that's how they think, right? So try for a Ridley, try for a Watson, maybe. Let's see. I don't want to go Terry. I mean, you could get Terry, but I think you can do better than Terry. Probably not any of the really legit stud receivers. I don't think. Maybe T. Higgins. T. Higgins has had 2 bad games. I would try for one of those guys. And if none of those are working, maybe you could get a Lockett. I would still be okay with a Lockett. So maybe one of those guys. Jesus, welcome back, Jesus. Someone offered me Hill for Amon Ra and K9. I mean, look, I know you don't want to pass up Tyreek Hill right now, but it's not like the Sun God is not a wide receiver one, and you're trading away a starting running back. I mean, I would only do this if you're so good at running back that Walker's not a starter for you. If that's the case and Walker's like your third running back, sure, you can do this. But if you need Walker, it's probably not worth it. Let's see. Dodge Ram start Swift over Gibbs. Yeah, I am. I'm starting Swift this week. I mean, obviously we've seen 2 straight weeks. Basically, the 2 games where he was used, um, monster. That doesn't mean he'll be monster this week, but I'm gonna keep playing him until he isn't. Gibbs, I think is fine, but look, we know what his role is. It is what it is, and Monty might be back, and it's not a great spot for him. Gibbs really was in a great spot last week, and he was good, but not great. I think I'm going Swift. Jedi Koth, welcome. Trade, take this trade. I give Pickens and Cook. Get JT and Madison. I mean, Madison doesn't do much for me, but it's like, whatever. Are you going to trade to get JT? I also have Henry, Ekeler, and Charbonnet. Well, if you have Henry and Ekeler, I mean, I know right now. Well, I mean, I'll say if you're good enough, if I think yeah, it's probably worth it. I really like it's tough for me. I really like Pickens and Cook this year. I like both those guys. But to get JT, I think it's worth it. And then again, looking if you have Henry and Eckler, JT is what your RB3, but James Cook's your RB3. So that's when it's like, okay, it doesn't matter. So you're trading George Pickens. Yeah, Pickens is probably a starter for you, but again, you're probably not clinging to him because you're offering him in a trade. So, yeah, I think you can do this. Take a swing. I don't think it's going to hurt you if you already have good running backs, and then see what happens there. What about Pollard for AK Laporta? I'm 100%, 1000% going to take Pollard. Yeah. Like no matter what. I don't care what the roster is. Pollard. Pollard over those guys, like for sure. Joel, I'm sorry. I don't know if I missed one of yours. Joel, could you put it again since you're still on here, just so I don't have to scroll all the way back? So I'm not sure what your question is. King of You 92 traded away Walker, Connor, and Waddle for Eckler and Pollard. I think you did a pretty good job. I mean, yeah, I like all those guys that you traded. Obviously, I love Waddle, and I'm saying I'm high on Walker, but you just got 2 of the top 5 probably running backs by year's end in fantasy. I mean, clearly Pollard already is, and Eckler played 1 game. You got 2 absolute monster running backs. I think it's fine because you traded away 2 RB2s to get 2 RB1s. And this is actually a really fair trade for the other guy, too. He got a stud receiver and he's got 2 really solid running backs. So I like this deal, but I think I would like it on either side, depending on the makeup of my roster. But I think in the end, I think you came out ahead. And I'm wondering, I mean, I guess you really wanted Waddle? I don't know. I don't know why you would trade away both Eckler and Pollard. I'm not sure. But hey, Billy DeVito, start 2. Nico MT, Javante, or Hopkins? Can't start Javante. Sorry. I know it's the Bears. I can't. I'm not starting Javante. This is gonna, shock and amaze a lot of people. I'm going MT this week, not because I'm a believer, just because I think it's going to be a good week for him. And I wish I could say Hopkins. Titans are facing who? The Bengals at home. I mean, I wish I knew that he was really 100 or closer to 100%. Like it should be Hopkins. I'll go MT and I'll go Hopkins. There you go. Go MT and Hopkins. I mean, it's fine if you want to start Nico, but Jeff Giesler. Keaton. I did see somebody pick up Keaton Mitchell. No, look, this is a special team guy, a return man. I'm not stashing him. He's not a guy I had any interest in, preseason, draft season. He's one of those little scat back types, and sure, Deuce Vaughn is getting on the field for the Cowboys, but he's not doing anything either. I know that the Ravens are just like going through running backs every week. Gus is just a concussion. He'll be back after this week, even if he misses. Justice Hill, I think, might be back already. They have Melvin Gordon, who they, for some reason, like. So, no, I don't think Keaton Mitchell's ever going to do anything as a running back. I like the thinking. I mean, I know you're always looking for those guys. And so I do talk about some similar types of guys, rookie running backs, who could have a path. And again, that video coming out Friday. Bez pulled the trigger on the Mostert Devontae Smith. I'm glad you did. You're not going to regret having Devontae Smith. Look, I honestly do not think Raheem Mostert's going to score 20 touchdowns or go for 1,500 yards this year. But anyways, thinking about trading Puka and possibly Henry for an RB. Who can I target? Puka and Henry. Well, then shoot for the moon. Go for Ekeler. Go for Pollard. Go for as high as you can go. Maybe Saquon if those don't work. Who should I start in the flex? Dell, Ford, Monty, Addison, Palmer. In this case, I can say no to Monty and no to Addison. Ford, solid for floor, tank for ceiling. If this is PPR, probably Dell makes more sense. I like Palmer, but I wouldn't put him over those guys. So probably Dell. But Ford is still very solid. And let's clarify. Ryan, try the trade with Addison over Ayuk. Yes. Addison over Ayuk. You can throw in Cook. Yeah, Addison over Ayuk for sure. Then let me see. Okay, let me go back. Okay, Zerby, let me go back to yours because I think I answered yours. I'm almost positive I did because we talked about. Here it is. Is this the same one that you're talking about? Yeah. If this is the one that, oh yeah, that's right. And I asked you, okay, you're on here. I know you're on here because you just chatted. So A Zerby, clarify for me, is it Josh Allen and Laporte, obviously? Is it Kelsey and Daniel Jones? I just want to make sure that that's who you're talking about. Or Mac Jones. I don't know which Jones. Okay, so clarify for me as far as that. And then I will definitely give you my thoughts on that. Okay, so you said it was Keenan Allen. All right. And who's the Jones, though? Who's the Jones? We got several Joneses. See, I thought, I don't know why. I don't know why I assumed it was Josh Allen, but I guess because I thought the Jones was a quarterback. All right, so I'm gonna wait for the response there, and then let's see, Joel Rodriguez. If you're still on, you can go ahead and give me that comment. If you can retype your question real quick. Sorry, just because if I go back to scroll, look for it. Oh, you know what? Never mind. That's right here. All right, Joel. Half PPR, 2 receiver, 2 running back, 2 flex. You got Stroud, Lamb, Addison, Thielen, Jacoby, Reynolds, Waddle, Etienne, Mostert, Kamara, Monty, B-Rob. Okay, so you need 2 receivers. Obviously, you're going Lamb and Waddle. 2 running backs, you got to go Mostert and Etienne. 2 flex. In this case, this week, I'm going to go Jacoby if Jimmy G plays. And man, and then my flex, I would like to say B-Rob. It's such a tough matchup. Probably go Addison. If they're starting like Brian Hoyer at quarterback for the Raiders, then I take Jacoby out and I'll just roll with. Probably just go with B-Rob. I don't want to start Kamara. Sorry, I just don't. Yeah, definitely should be happy with that. All right, so A Derby again. Let me know for sure. You started talking about Keenan Allen. Just clarify the Jones part. Ahmad, flex spot. Got Ayuk, Debo, Evans, or Watson. Only one of those. Those are all flex options. Man, okay. Not Evans. I can definitely say not Evans. Because you got those Niners, I can say don't take the chance with Watson. Not worth it. Which Niners receiver this week? It's probably best to go with Debo. Ayuk will play, but I think Debo. I'll go Debo. This week. You got some good options. All right, fine. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Sports tricks. Jesus, how to become a member? Honestly, I wish I could tell you on this end. I don't see that, so I'm not sure. But somebody had said kind of near the super chat thing, there's a way that it says join or something like that. Don't really know what to tell you though. All right, let's do a couple more. Sports tricks. I'm actually caught up here. Got Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Kamara, Diggs, Metcalf, and Cooper Kupp. All right. 10-man non-PPR can only start 5. All right. 5 of these guys. I'll say no to Kamara. I mean, you have to start Diggs. I want to start. Okay, not Cooper. Cooper Kupp. Well, obviously, you can't start Cooper Kupp this week. So in that case, you're going to go Walker, Mixon. Wait a minute. I think I just got sport tricked. I'm pretty sure I just did. I think you can go with the first 5 guys. All right. Hey, Herbie. I meant trading Keenan Allen. Okay, but which Jones? Which Jones? That's what I want to know. Because you said Kelsey Jones. Which Jones? Got to be clear. But if you're talking Keenan Allen and Laporta for Kelsey, I mean, is it Aaron Jones? If it's Kelsey and Aaron Jones, maybe. But then you're trading a receiver and a tight end for a running back and tight end. Yeah. You don't have to super chat even. Just put a regular comment here. Just tell me who is it that you're talking about as far as the Jones. All right. Let's do a couple more before we get that one done. Wonton. Do we trust Field this week? No. Can't. Go with Stroud. Just go with Stroud. Cousins or Burrow? Like to say Cousins, but Burrow gets Tennessee. I'm going to take a shot on Burrow. Right? Tennessee. You go with the matchup. I'm going to go Burrow. Sarp. Patiently waiting. All right, Sarp. Got offered a trade by my friends. Give away Kenneth Walker and Tua because you have Herbert. All right. Empty and Puka. You're giving away 4 players. All right. Kenneth Walker, Tua, Empty, and Puka. You getting back Mixon, Olave, and Ayuk. Walker, MT, Puka to get. Yes, I'm going to do that because you're selling Hound and Puka and MT to get Olave and Ayuk. Huge. I mean, to me, pretty good. Or maybe not huge. Pretty good upgrade there at receiver. And then, I'd rather have Walker than Mixon, but you're getting that upgrade. I think it's fair because you're giving him a starting quarterback, so he's happy with this. But I would take this if you don't need Tua because you got Herbert. I would say yes, do this trade, get the upgrade, do it. All right, thank you for clarifying. Aaron Jones and Kelsey for Laporta and Keenan Allen. Afraid to lose the ceiling of my wide receiver room. Okay, so Keenan Allen so far has been just like hair on fire, like amazingly good, right? And now Mike Williams is gone. I mean, Keenan Allen is a guy, if you're trading at this point right now, should be getting like a ton back. You're getting a legit RB2 and you're getting Travis Kelsey. I would, of course, not put Laporta near the Kelsey range right now. And a lot of people are going to overreact, right? Like Laporta's the new Kelsey. Okay, whatever. It's risky if you're trading away Keenan Allen and Laporta to get Aaron Jones and Kelsey. It's risky because of the Aaron Jones thing, right? Aaron Jones, of course, with the hamstring. Aaron Jones coming back, but still going to be some ups and downs. But then you get that upgrade at tight end. I think if you're the Keenan and Laporta side, I think I'm keeping Keenan right now. If I'm trading away Keenan, it's because I'm getting like a Godfather offer. I think you have to treat it that way. Same thing when I'm talking about like Mostert, maximize your return on potential. So if you have Keenan Allen Laporta, I would say hold tight because exactly like you said, you are losing some ceiling there. Kevin is back. Kevin Trotter. Someone dropped Trevor Lawrence. Not surprising. Your only other option is Baker Mayfield. You don't have to think very long about this. You go with Trevor Lawrence. Go with Trevor Lawrence. Pick him up. Yeah. And then apparently the Terminator is back. Christian Watson is free. Yes. Christian Watson should not be on waivers. Get him. Get these guys. These are early season overreactions. You should not be dropping or letting these guys just like rot on waivers. Yes. All right. And then rough times, Musgrave or Pitts, you got to. I'm going Musgrave over Pitts. I'm done with Pitts until something changes. He's not getting traded, by the way, to Dallas. I think that rumor, which somebody just made up, is completely been debunked right now. So Pitts is stuck in Atlanta. Go Musgrave. Fields with Watson, Geno, Dimes on waiver. I think you can. Oh, yeah, you can go with any of those first three guys instead of Fields. This week, I'm going to go Geno. Yeah. Oh, but you would have to. You can drop Rashawn. Don't drop Terry yet. Yeah. Like I hate to say, I don't know if Kyler's gonna do anything this year. But anyways, you can drop Rashawn Johnson this week. Nothing's gonna change with him. Like you could probably pick him back up after he doesn't do much this week. So yeah, I think you can just do that. I would not want to start Fields. Look, if he goes off, great. I missed it. Whatever. Go with Geno, and you're not gonna be too sad. All right. I think that's it. A little earlier because I don't have myself to talk to, but I hope I answered all the questions that I could out for the night. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone, especially our members and our everyone who's on here. Let me do one more. Sorry. Oh wait, I already did this. Never mind. I want to make sure I didn't. How do you become a member? I wish I had that answer. If somebody in the chat can help him out and point out, because I honestly don't know, but there's probably a join button somewhere. One more super chat under the gun here. Daniel Kapskinen, is Lockett and Ford or Moss too much for Pittman? Yes. Yeah. I honestly right now I think Lockett Pittman is pretty even, fairly even. So I wouldn't want to give up a starting running back too just to get Pittman. No, I would rather have Lockett, honestly, just by a little bit. So nah, don't do that. That's too much to get Pittman. All right, guys. So there you go. That does it for tonight, and appreciate all of you. We'll see you again. Chris will be holding down the fort tomorrow, and only just because I'll be out of town for a little bit, but I'll see you guys soon, hopefully by Monday. Have a good luck this weekend. Of course, check out all the videos still dropping every day. Like we said, daily content here for you guys. Hit like, do a little notification bell so you know when we do go live, no matter who it is. Hit the bell so you know that you get that notification. And then, of course, if you haven't signed up for Underdog, just stop waiting. Stop waiting. Just do it now. Just use promo code Endgame. And also join us on the flock. We got all sorts of ways you can be a part of the Endgame community. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.